one of the legendary shows of my life. Literally, one of the legendary shows of my life.
Who was your favourite Thunderbird?
Well, I always used to imagine myself as a Thunderbird pilot.
Did you?
And so I liked the guy who flew the one that had the big containers in the middle, the green one. So
Well, that's Thunderbird 2.
Thunderbird 2 was Tracy, wasn't it?
Well, they were all called Tracy.
Oh, of course, they're all called Tracy. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Mind-expanding sundown sporting discourse for witches, kebab van owners...
You want some chili sauce with that?
...and washed-up burglars too fat to fit through your cat flap.
You great fat thieving lumper lad!
Cult listening worth staying awake for. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll read that again. Oh no, I was right the first time. The two mics on Talk Sport.
Look at the light!
Got plenty of time.
No, we haven't. Look at
yes,
the time.
you have. I can make time.
No,
You know,
how do you make
I can
time?
invent time.
Can you?
If those fish are so good at hearing noise as half of their body is a big eardrum, why haven't human doctors thought about transferring goldfish into people's ears who are deaf to give them sound?
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics, and I'm delighted to say that battling against all the odds and through thick and thin and what has been described by he as pseudo-pneumonia, Mr. Mike Porky Parry is here. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
And a good morning to you, Mike. And you're absolutely right. Thank goodness you. Thank goodness. I said then. Thank goodness you have properly diagnosed my illness. It is, as you quite rightly have just told our millions of listeners, pseudo-pneumo. It's pseudo-pneumo.
No.
It's pseudo-pneumonia.
No, you said it was pseudo-pneumonia.
No, it's a new diagnosis. Pseudo-pneumonia.
Have you been to the doctor?
No, I diagnosed it myself. Self-diagnosis. Yeah,
Really?
I looked on the internet to find out what it was. It's pseudo-pneumo.
Are you taking anything for it?
I'm taking what I can, but most things don't work. You've got to understand that this is not like a virus or something like that. When only 1/3 of your heart works, only 1/3 of your heart can battle against the disease sweeping around your body.
You sound fine.
What happens is you lie down, you try to lie down. What happens then? Your lungs get full of the fluid and the liquid.
Details. Nobody wants to hear the details.
I could drown just lying down and trying to sleep for 5 minutes. That's how difficult it is when you've got a heart like mine that malfunctions so badly.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not my fault. It's my dad's fault.
You sound
it's my
fine.
dad. He gave me this disease, and now I've got to fight it.
Right.
But I will fight it with stoicness. Now, listen, I want to pay you a huge tribute.
Do you?
A huge tribute.
Really? Blimey.
Yeah, I want to pay you a huge tribute.
Be unwell.
You put out a tweet today, which I agree with more than any other tweet you've ever put out.
Yeah.
The sugar tax. What a con.
It is.
The biggest con trick in the history of politics.
Be careful, your tea's going to spill.
Yeah, sorry. The biggest con trick in the history of politics since, believe it or not, and George Osborne has introduced it. He's the Chancellor, right?
Yeah, right.
What about a former Chancellor, Gordon Brown, who introduced the carbon footprint tax?
They've done away with that, haven't they?
The carbon footprint tax.
Haven't they got rid of that now?
Do you know what the carbon footprint tax was?
Yeah.
You turn up at the airport with your family, the four of you, and you just paid 1,200 quid for a holiday.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the girl behind the desk, very pretty girl, very nice girl,
What's it to do with
very lovely girl.
What difference does it make whether she's pretty or not?
Well, what I'm saying is, you know...
the sexist.
No, I'm not saying the sexist. What I'm saying is you're feeling good about going on your holiday, you know. Most ladies...
in your case, you turn up at the airport on your own, right? You don't turn up with your family.
It depends whether I'm going on a fact-finding mission or not. And you feel good about the fact that at the airport and all that. And then this lovely lady behind the desk who's got a sweet smile.
Lovely lady.
Yeah, she says...
In a uniform.
Yeah, she says, oh, thank you.
Heels.
Thank you very much. What's that going to do with that? I didn't say anything like that.
Well, you're describing a woman. Why do you have to say that she's good looking?
Because I'm trying to give you the atmosphere of how good you feel about going on holiday, and holiday companies...
But you were going to be describing one of those, like, virgin girls.
No. Holiday companies and people at airports, generally speaking, employ attractive women...
You haven't been to the airport for a while, have you?
And good-looking guys to make you feel good about going to the airport. Anyway, what I'm saying is, this young lady then suddenly says, oh, so nice to see you. Can I have your passports, please? Right, that's right. OK, yeah, that's right. £120, please. And you say, excuse me. Oh, sorry, that was just the lung malfunction. And then you
stop shouting, you'll be fine.
And then you say, what's this for?
Yeah.
And she says, oh, I'm sorry, it's the carbon footprint tax.
Yeah.
What? When was that introduced? Oh, yesterday. Right. Who by? The Chancellor, Mr. Gordon Brown. And why? What is this for? Oh, it's to save the world.
It's
not.
It's to stop you flying.
No, it's not. Do you know what it's all about?
What's it all about?
Oh, yes, to save the world, because if it discourages you flying, we don't pump so much aviation gasoline into the air. What a load of nonsense. You know what it is all about? Mr. Brown, who was then the Chancellor...
Get some more money in the coffers.
...has just looked at the books and seen that he's massively overspending again, as all Chancellors do.
But why are you talking about Gordon Brown? He hasn't been in for years.
Hang on, I'm trying to explain to you where the tricks come from. And
we've got all night.
And so he brings it onto the carbon footprint tax. It is, as you quite rightly say, just a way of robbing people's pockets.
Yeah, but have they done away with that? They've done away with the carbon tax, haven't they, for companies? Have they done away with the carbon flying tax, though?
That's irrelevant. I'm trying to tell you.
I want some facts from you.
So George Osborne, the current Chancellor, goes and looks at, tactics from former Chancellors trying to raise money, in so-called, for the health of the nation. Yeah. And he's decided we'll have a sugar tax. Well, a sugar tax is rubbish.
But not for 2 years.
Sugar tax, eh?
They're not bringing it in for 2 years.
Oh, really? I thought there was 24p going on a litre bottle of Coke.
No, they don't. They're not bringing it for 2 years.
Oh, right. So we can get fat for the next 2 years.
Yeah, next 2 years you're fine. Don't worry.
Next 2 years you can get fat, okay.
And then in 2 years, beware.
Yeah.
I don't drink sugary drinks.
So anyway, what happens is he says, right, I tell you, we'll put on sugar tax. Now, can I just tell you what I believe?
What do you believe?
I believe
the children are the future.
No. I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a child is born. That was the Bachelors, by the way.
Was it?
Group. Yeah.
Dear God.
Now, what I believe
it's very hot in here again.
Have
you turned the heating up again?
Yeah, I've had to. I'm sorry. I've got to have a working temperature of 55 degrees. Well, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
And what I believe
by the way,
this.
do you know it's St. Patrick's Day? Happy St. Patrick's Day, since you're talking about the Bachelors.
Is that the 17th, is it?
Yeah, that'd be today.
Yeah, but I'm not Irish, so I don't understand why people celebrate this all around the world.
Well, it doesn't matter. Why can't you just wish our Irish listeners a happy St. Patrick's Day? Happy St. Paddy's Day to you all.
Whenever we used to be in New York, the whole city would come to a grinding halt.
That's true, yeah.
While Mayor Ed Koch, who is of Greek origin...
He's Jewish, wasn't he?
Well, no, it depended what celebration was going on.
Which part of the city
which part of the city he was in, and would walk up and down 3rd Avenue, the shillelagh, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Bashing people on the head and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, point of the story is that George Osborne has decided he needs more money. Oh, I know. Now, the truth of the matter is that the way that you should regulate the fatness or otherwise of children in this country is by introducing rigid iron disciplinary behaviour into parenting.
Uh-huh.
It's about parenting skills.
How many kids have you got?
It's about parenting skills.
How many children have you got?
It's about parenting skills.
How many children have you got?
And can I tell you this?
Can you tell me how many children you've got?
Can I tell you this?
Can you tell me how many children you've got?
Again, George Osborne looked at Gordon Brown.
Please answer the question?
Gordon Brown decided to massively increase the welfare state and therefore the welfare dependency of millions of people who are now prisoners of the welfare state, locked into dependency, which is worse than being locked in Alcatraz, by the way, because at least you get out of Alcatraz eventually. You never get out of dependency, OK?
Do you mean Alcatraz?
I said Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. It sounds like alcohol.
Alcatraz.
Now, how many children have you got? Just answer
the question.
Well, you
know the answer to that one, you stupid fatto.
We may have new listeners who don't know.
You know the answer.
We may always have new listeners who don't know the answer.
I so far haven't started directly a family.
So you have no children?
I've got a niece and a nephew. I've watched their upbringing very, very closely over the years.
Having a drunken
and they're both very slim, by the way.
Having a drunken old uncle doesn't count.
And they're both very slim. And do you know why?
Seen the time.
My sister was a home economist, right? She was a home economist.
She was a homophobe.
No, a home economist. She had regulatory diets for her children, my niece and my nephew. And the other thing is, by the way...
Good news, the new day's arrived.
Hey, new day.
They've got a great story on the front page. Yeah. It's called Lifeblood. Miracle of the woman saved by Britain's biggest blood transfusion.
And what's the stupid thing on the back again?
Oh, yeah.
The one today, here, it's called their personal listography.
Yeah, go on, let's hear it.
That's listography, the personal... List your favourite items.
He was a very good Irishman. Listography.
The personal listography on the back of Britain's newest newspaper, New and Day, is a little box which says... List your favourite items which have gone missing and you never found. What about the common sense of the bloke who invented this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all commercial.
Or the lady, actually. Could be a lady who invented it.
How about the prices being wiped off the shares of Trinity Mirror after they launched this pile of nonsense?
They have another one on the back here. It's called Beat the Kettle. How about this?
Yeah.
And apparently you put your kettle on and you boil it, and in the time it takes to boil the kettle, you have to answer this question.
Yeah.
What has no beginning, end or middle?
I would say this newspaper.
Yeah, well, I would as well, actually, yeah.
I don't mind that. I mean, that at least is some kind of challenge. The other thing about writing the names down, there's no challenge at all. You've got all day to do that.
Do you know what they've also got on the back? They've got this picture puzzle. Yeah. Can you guess the skyscraper buildings?
Right.
The first one...
is where they work.
Yeah, exactly. It's one Canada Square. It's unbelievable. My God.
I know, it's shocking. Right, anyway, it is Happy St Patrick's Day. We'll be talking about Arsenal, we'll be talking about Man United and Liverpool, we'll be talking about Bayern Munich
Happy
and Pep
St.
Guardiola,
Paddy's Day.
of course, and the sugar tax. This is Talk Sport.
Hawksby and Jacobs live from Cheltenham today from 1 on Talk Sport.
Join us live from the Cheltenham Festival, where apart from a top array of guests, Andy,
Yes, I'm really looking forward to it.
we will also bring you the feature race of the day, full commentary with the great Rupert Bell.
Hawksby and Jacobs live from Cheltenham today from 1 on Talk Sport.
You make me feel so young. You make me feel like spring sprung. Every time I see you grin, I'm such a happy individual. The moment that you
I've got some
speak.
shocking news for you.
Shocking news. Come
Shocking
on.
news.
Come on, I
Frank-
can take it.
Remember when we played Frank Sinatra Jr. Not that long ago, and
Yeah.
you thought it was Frank Sinatra, and you didn't realise that it was his son
Yeah, well,
actually singing, because he
I
sounds
mean,
exactly like him.
What
Right?
a joke. Imagine if I, in my living, might go around impersonating me dad. It's
I
stupid.
thought that's what you did do.
What?
I've never met your dad.
Well, no.
He was also mad, wasn't he?
No, he died 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But he handed down my heart disease to me. That's why only one third of my heart works.
Well, it's funny you should say that,
Yeah.
because Frank Sinatra Jr., I'm terribly sorry to tell you, is dead.
No.
He's died of a
He
heart
can't
attack.
be.
He's died of a heart attack.
He's only about 58, wasn't
No,
he?
72.
72?
He died of a heart attack in Daytona Beach, Florida, while on tour.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely amazing.
That's terrible.
Terrible story.
Poor fella.
The statement says from the family they mourn the untimely passing of their son, brother, father, and uncle.
Golly.
But there's no other details.
Well, hang on. If he was 72, that means that, Frank himself must have
Well, Sinatra
been...
died back in the 80s, did he? 90s?
No. 90s,
90s?
maybe? 90s?
90s.
20
Yeah,
years
no,
ago?
in fact, I was still doing stories on him in the 80s. So
yeah,
90s.
exactly, 90s. So he must be over 100 now if he was still alive. I suppose that works, yeah.
Yeah, apparently he performed the national anthem at a Yankees game last year. He was in Daytona to do a show on Wednesday, which would be yesterday. But he died suddenly during the afternoon.
Have you ever been to Daytona, by the way?
I don't think I have.
Do you know what I went down there to do?
What?
The world's biggest ever Hell's Angels rally.
Really?
Yeah, they all come down on there.
They must have loved seeing
hogs.
you walking stagger around in your suit.
Yeah, that's
Did you wear
right,
a
yeah.
suit? Did it take? Because this
No.
is what happened when you first. Did you not? When you first went to America?
Yeah.
Because as a reporter, you'd always wear a suit. It took you a while to kind of get used to the idea of actually you didn't have to wear a
Merging
suit
with the locals.
wherever
That's right,
you went. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally agree. I landed once in Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
And I was. That's when I went in. I've told you the story. I went to interview the guy who killed the two FBI agents. He was an Apache Indian.
Yeah.
Locked up for
Yeah,
life.
you had to go into the president.
Had to go in the cell with him, yeah, and he was a killer, and he was going to kill me. And
Did you wear a suit for that?
yeah, I did. And but what happened was I got off the plane.
Yeah.
There was a fleet of cars there, and the editor of the local newspaper I'd rung up ahead of time because we didn't have any internet in those days, and I
Yeah.
wanted to use his cuttings library.
Yeah.
Had sent his.
Yeah, you told us all this
his
before.
news. I know, that's what I'm saying.
You told us all this before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You have to stop repeating yourself.
No, excuse me, would you just stop that? I've got, pseudo-pneumo, and
Pseudo-pneumo.
it can get on your nerves.
Yeah. You do get on my nerves.
Well, that's very sad about
It is.
Now then, the question I want to ask you is this.
Yeah, go on.
Is there going to be another one?
Another what?
Well, is there another Frank Sinatra Jr.?
What, Junior?
Yeah.
Well, like Frank Sinatra the third.
Frank Sinatra the Toy.
Like Davis Love the third.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Is there going to be one?
Now, I can't tell you that immediately.
Oh, well,
he has got a son.
Mm-hmm. Well, there
he
you go.
says-
I bet his name's Frank Sinatra.
He says, my father in those days was in the fat of his career. This is a quote from Frank Jr. He says, like any man, his life was highs and lows. At one point, he was riding the crest. He was the biggest star in the world. Then in one 9-week period in 1957, his entire world exploded.
It
That's
did.
him talking about his dad.
And do you know where he ended up, by the way? Bridlington.
Bridlington?
Yeah, Frank Sinatra was so on the bones of his backside, his
Right.
career had crashed completely
Right.
because he'd had a series of records which had been failures, and his film career had suddenly started and ended before he won an Oscar.
Yeah.
And he ended up in a theatre in Bridlington trying to revive his career, staying in a bed and breakfast
Really?
nearby. Yeah, honestly.
How bizarre.
Yeah.
Now, did you know that Frank Sinatra Jr. was kidnapped and held for ransom? When he was 19?
Yes, I think I did, yeah.
I didn't know that.
And Sinatra had to invoke the threats of his mates in the mob, didn't
Yeah,
he?
that's right.
To get him back. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that.
There's no suggestion here that he's got any kids at all, actually.
Who? Frank Sinatra Jr.?
Frank Sinatra Jr.
I thought you told me there was a Frank Sinatra Jr. son.
No, I don't know. I don't think there is.
Oh, I thought you did say.
Well, I'm trying to find out.
I tell you what,
it doesn't appear as though there is.
I tell you what I saw, actually, talking about Sinatra, in one of the weekend papers, I saw a feature on Terry O'Neill.
Oh, yeah.
The very famous photographer, who's now of an age himself, about 78 or something.
Yeah.
And
he took that famous picture of Faye Dunaway, didn't he? With her Oscar by the swimming pool.
Well, he's married to Faye Dunaway.
Well, he was after he took that picture.
Yeah, that's right, he was, yeah.
That was the point at which he made the move,
But one of the most famous pictures ever taken of him was on the boardwalk in Atlantic City with all his bodyguards around him. Right. Remember it? The one walking along in his suit?
Yeah.
And do you know how he got that picture? He was working on a film. It was Sinatra's first wife. Very famous actress. Ava Gardner. Yeah. He was working on a film with Ava Gardner, but she'd divorced Frank Sinatra by then. And
she was supposedly, I don't wish to cast aspersions on her, but she was described as crazy.
Yes, I think she was also very fond of the company of men.
Highly strung.
Yes, that's right, and all that kind of stuff. And
when you say fond of the company of men,
yes,
you mean that she wasn't faithful to him?
Well, in Hollywood terms, she was known as the bike. Sorry, what's your problem? What's your problem? Well, no, she was.
Just took some tea at the wrong moment.
Oh,
sorry.
dear, you're choking. I'm supposed to have the lung problem, mate, not you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So anyway, that's not very nice. It's not a very nice term for a woman.
Well, it's not, is it? I was just telling you what I've read. And anyway, Terry O'Neill said, I'm going, my next assignment is on the set of the new... Did he make the original Ocean's 11 film?
Eh?
Was that what they were doing in Atlantic City? No, Frank Sinatra, you idiot.
No, of course not. He was dead by then.
Well, he made a film about that same sort of thing, OK? It was about a bunch of gangsters who were robbing a casino or something like that,
You're not talking about the George Clooney one, though?
No, I'm not. No, this is Frank Sinatra. And anyway, he said to Ava Gardner, the next film I've got to go and shoot is as a photographer.
So maybe he did the original one, then?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm not that old.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an original one. So she said, give Frankie my love. And he said, well, I'd love to. Do you want me to pass on a message?
Yeah.
And she said, yeah. She said, here, I'll write you a note. And Terry O'Neill said, you wouldn't mind saying in that note, would you please, that, I've done a good job here and I could do a good job there. And then Terry O'Neill went and gave this note. Terry O'Neill didn't know what Ava Gardner had written in the note because it was in a sealed envelope. Yeah. But for the next 3 weeks, Terry O'Neill became Frank Sinatra's personal bodyguard.
Well, what did it say in the note?
Well, he never found out.
Well, so you tell the whole story.
Yes.
It takes 10 minutes.
Yes.
And you don't know what the point of it is.
Well, he doesn't. To this day, he doesn't. He says,
what's
I
the
don't
point
know.
of telling the story?
Because it's an interesting story about how power works, circles within circles, wheels within wheels.
It's only interesting if you know what the note
bikes within
said.
bikes.
It's only interesting if you know what the note says.
How should I know? I'm not a mind reader. I can't read through closed envelopes, can I?
Well, I don't know.
Anyway, look. The point is...
Anyway, it's a very sad story that Frank Sinatra Jr. has died of a heart attack.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is that you can't have... What's your problem?
There's a tweet from Sign of the Times.
Oh, yeah.
It's just revealed he had an illegitimate son called Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. That's a joke, isn't it?
Well, that's because of how we pronounce it.
Yes, I know. Yeah. No, what I was going to say is, what a miserable life to have had going around earning your living by impersonating your father.
Well, he didn't impersonate his father. He just sang. He had a singing career.
Yeah, but it was his concerts were billed as Sinatra sings Sinatra.
Yeah.
So you're impersonating your father, aren't you?
Well, he's called Sinatra. He's singing, and he's singing some of the songs that Frank Sinatra sang. What else would you call it?
Just imagine if, for instance, Tom Jones's son spent his life going round wearing tight underpants and wriggling around on stages to try and impersonate his father.
Well,
that'd be terrible.
Well, if you make a living doing it, what's the problem?
Well, there's no dignity in that at all. I think it's very undignified.
There's no dignity in it.
No.
Unlike what you do,
What's
putting
that?
on a gorilla mask and filming yourself for a YouTube channel. There's not much dignity in that either.
That was an exercise in trying to help the gorilla.
Yeah, the gorilla.
It was.
Yeah.
What I was trying to do is, I don't know why you can't sometimes just treat something with a bit of dignity rather than, trying to get a cheap laugh from our millions of listeners all the time.
I'm not trying to get a cheap laugh.
Do you want a cheap laugh? Of course I put a gorilla mask on.
If you talk about people acting with dignity, you're in the same business as Frank Sinatra Jr., as I'm sure you'd like me to point out, the entertainment business. And he doesn't put a gorilla mask on, does he?
No, but I put a gorilla mask on and I illustrated the way that gorillas now, human mankind, Homo sapien, has learned how to communicate with the gorilla.
Yeah.
And all I was doing was showing you the way the gorilla communicates with man.
Right.
I mean, that was a scientific exercise. realise I wasn't doing that for a laugh, and I hope nobody was laughing. I was doing it because I wanted to prove to people we are making strides in understanding the wildlife world.
I see.
Simple as that.
Do you mind if we talk about a bit of football? Is that beyond you?
Well, the football isn't worth talking about tonight, I'm afraid.
Wow.
Arsenal went bouncing
Did
out.
you see the Bayern Munich game?
Well, yeah, it was all right, but I mean,
It was all right.
It's a German team and an Italian team. What interest is that to me?
Well, because it's possibly the best game of football that anybody's seen for quite a long time.
It was
Bayern
all right.
Munich were 2-0 down
I watched
for
it.
a large part of the game. They got back to 2-2. They
Yeah.
won 4-2 in extra time.
I watched it.
And they may well be the only team in the Champions League that might have a chance of beating Barcelona.
Well, maybe.
Although, having seen what Pep Guardiola did for them tonight, I think they're not capable of that.
Well, it looks very much to me like, I mean, Barcelona, by the way, what a classic strike force tonight. 1, 2, 3. All three of them scored.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just going to steamroll their way to the Champions
I would have
League.
thought so.
Retention
I
for
would
the
have
first
thought so.
time ever.
Yeah.
Huh? How about that?
Well, the thing is, the problem with Barcelona is this is so much better than everybody else.
It's a barren landscape for British clubs in Europe
It's
at the
not.
moment, isn't it?
I've got to talk to you.
Barren.
You said to me last week that you couldn't care less about Manchester United and Liverpool.
Yes.
They had quite a good first leg. They've got a second leg coming up tonight, right?
But hang on, I heard on the previous show that they can't sell the stadium out.
Who?
The
Manchester United
and Liverpool.
But that's Louis van Gaal's fault, isn't it? They're playing at Old Trafford.
Well, it's the appeal of the competition. I've been saying ever since the draw.
No, it's the
nobody
appeal.
actually really cares about this.
Are you seriously telling me that if Manchester United were playing like they used to play under Alex Ferguson, that they would not sell it out to play Liverpool, their biggest rivals? Of course they would.
No, it wouldn't matter if...
It's Van Gaal's fault.
No, it wouldn't matter if Manchester United were the dominant champions of English football as they were for so many years under SAF. They still wouldn't be able to sell that game out.
I don't believe
it's a non-competition.
I don't believe it.
It is a bum competition.
No,
Nobody's interested.
Yeah.
And if when United and Liverpool fans start getting disinterested, you've got a very disinteresting competition. Believe me.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Yes.
He is Mike Porky Parry. He seems to have made a remarkable recovery from his sickbed.
I'm still very ill.
Yeah, you don't look it. I'm Mike Graham. This is Talk Sport.
Pseudo-Pnemo.
Roll up, ladies and gentlemen, and prepare to be amazed and astounded by Colin Murray's Carnival of Curiosities, featuring a feast of fascinating facts and a farrago of fiendish falsehoods to untangle from the tantalising truths as Mr. Murray delights and astonishes you with his assortment of amicable acquaintances. Don't miss Fact or Fiction every Thursday morning from 10 on Talk Sport with Regain for Men Extra Strength Scalp Foam, scientifically proven to help stop and even reverse hereditary hair loss. Contains minoxidil. Always read the label.
Buy-to-let landlords. Direct Line guaranteed to beat any quote for the same cover. Can your insurance do that? Search Direct Line Landlord Insurance. New customers only. Qualifying criteria apply. Underwritten by UK Insurance Limited.
Paddy Power complaints.
Your Cheltenham offer is nonsense.
You mean this offer?
Money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second in all races at Cheltenham. That's every single race, every single day.
How am I supposed to come second in all races, you nincompoop?
Well, you don't have to come second in all races, but any race your horse does come second in, you get your money back.
That makes way more sense. Thanks, Paddy.
You're welcome.
Win and win part of each race, single bets only. Max free bet £25, valid for 7 days. Stake not included in winnings. T&Cs apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.co.uk.
On the surface, this is a great Sky TV bundles offer. But dig deeper and you'll discover much more. Join today with the family bundle for £36 a month and you'll get a free 32-inch LG TV. Plus unmissable shows on Sky Atlantic like The Tunnel, Sabotage. Hurry, this free LG TV offer ends today. Search Sky Bundles. Sky. Believe in better.
Direct debit subject to status. Upfront £10 standard setup. Minimum contract and further terms apply.
Bienvenue au weekend sports breakfast avec Michelle Quinn and Georgie Bingham.
Hey! Oh, really, Mickey?
Every Saturday and Sunday morning from 7 on Talk Sport with Renault Pro Plus centres. It's the breakfast show that cooks up a soufflé of sport and a pan of chocolat of pre-match build-up.
There's no need to milk it, Mickey.
The hors d'oeuvre to another big weekend feast of foot. The weekend sports breakfast on Talk Sport with Renault Pro Plus centres. Dedicated experts who'll keep you moving. Fantastique.
Madness, they call it madness. Madness, madness, they call it madness. I'm about to explain it, and then someone is losing their breath. Madness, madness, I call it madness.
Now, did I tell you? I meant to tell you this yesterday.
Who's that?
One about. What do you mean? Who's that?
Is that UB40? What are you laughing at?
Did you hear the words?
Madness.
Madness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, so that's the group Madness.
It is the group
Well,
Madness.
well, normally
the group Madness. As they're
okay,
known.
all right. Well, hang on. I don't remember the Rolling Stones singing a song called "Rolling Stones, Rolling Stones, Rolling Stones." How was I to know that the people singing Madness were Madness? Eh?
Well, because it's a fairly well-known and recognisable song.
I'm going to talk to you about UB40 later
talk
in the
to
show.
me about UB40
anyway, go on,
later.
Yeah.
What I was going to say to you.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to find the guy's tweet, but I got a tweet yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Or the day before.
Go on. I get hundreds. Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on, sorry.
You're feeling better now?
Yeah,
so
well,
you started being
I'm
horrible
feeling
again.
a bit brighter.
Well, you're not brighter. You're still just as stupid as you were before you were ill.
I'm okay when I'm sitting up because the fluids in my lung don't drown me. But when I'm lying down, I can get drowned.
So if I just make you lie down and hold you in a chokehold, you might pass away. Is that what you're telling me?
That's very nice, isn't it? Yeah.
I just put my foot over your throat.
I don't know you can talk like that, you know.
Well, because I sometimes get provoked.
I don't know.
Anyway, what I was going to tell you
is
that one of our listeners sent me a tweet because he's put together...
What did it say?
He's put together a playlist.
Push off, four-eyed fatso, eh?
No, that was what he said. No, that's what he said to you.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah,
it seems to, the irony of you wearing glasses seems to escape you, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, but mine on thick black-rimmed ones. You look like Joe 90. I look like some cool dude. Anyway, go on,
You're
go
like
on,
Joe
go on.
Schmo.
Go on, tell us about this.
Well, he's put together a Spotify playlist, right? And I know you won't have any idea what that is. Have you ever heard of Spotify?
No.
It's a music streaming app.
Right, okay.
So basically what you can do is you can pay a fee.
Right.
For like £3 or £4 a month.
Sounds interesting.
And it's like having your own radio station. You can play any piece of music you want.
Excellent, like it.
Which is very nice. Now, what he's done is he's put a playlist together of all the music that we use on this show.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
See, now you're interested because it's got something to do with you.
No, is it accessible then?
Yeah, of course it's accessible. It's on Spotify.
So where do I get it?
Well, if you were paying attention yesterday, instead of feeling sorry for yourself and lying about in your pit, you would have seen that I retweeted it out.
Oh, did you?
And said for anybody who wants to find this, they can find it on our Twitter feed.
I'll find it. Hey, by the way, sorry, we'll talk about this later on the show as well. See, Tony Poulis has been ordered to pay £2 million back to... Crystal Palace, yeah.
Has he?
Joe, I meant to tell you about this a few weeks ago.
It's been going on for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, what happened was, somebody told me a few weeks ago, somebody in the football, that this case was coming up, and I said, what's it about? And the allegation was, and it is an allegation apparently that was aired at the High Court, is that Tony Poulis had a bonus coming, right, for, outstanding work at Crystal Palace.
Was it not for keeping him up or something?
Yes, I think so, yeah. And instead of waiting for the start of the following season to receive it, he asked if he could have it early.
Right, and
because he wanted to invest
it. And then he hopped off with it.
And apparently, within days of getting it, no, he didn't hop off with it. That's suggesting he did something wrong. Within days of receiving it...
Well, no, he left the club.
He left the club.
Well, he hopped off with
it. And so they then had a dispute, a legal dispute, which has apparently been ruled in favour of Crystal Palace and their chairman, Steve... What's his name? Steve...
Parrish.
Steve Parrish, that's right.
Of church.
It says £2 million in reports in tomorrow morning's newspapers, but earlier on today, I was told it was $3.5 million. So it's an amazing case.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, go on.
Well, because he's getting legal costs. I think he's getting charged legal costs as well.
I think you're right, yeah.
He has the cough coming along, by the way.
It's not good, not good.
Okay. Let me read you some tweets out. One that says from somebody who's in support of you, by Johnny. Great point, well made. United fans aren't interested and have no confidence in United performing. That's the same. I made the point that's why they're not turning up.
Well,
because it's nothing to do with the competition. It's the fact that nobody in Manchester United... in the fan area wants to go and see a game they have to pay extra for because it's so disappointing. Well, and don't forget they're already 2-0 down anyway.
Yeah, but hang on. Also remember this. Between them, they've won 8 European Cup / Champions Leagues, haven't they?
Liverpool have won 5.
And
it's not about
United
that.
Have won 3.
It's about if you're a fan of Manchester United, you are sick to the back teeth of watching the 0-0 Louis van Gaal rubbish.
No.
I mean, you see what he's saying in the papers this morning. If we play well, we will win. Great.
Yes, yeah, good idea.
Thanks, Louis.
But, mate, I am a student of human psychology, and I can tell you those fans, honestly, after having the riches of Europe's top competition laid before them for so long, like on a banqueting table with a feast, they don't want to go nibble at the crumbs.
Where are you getting all these figures from, anyway? Because I'm getting a lot of tweets from people saying, I don't believe you.
Believe what?
That United's not selling out, that Old Trafford's not selling out.
OK. Contradict me if you wish.
Well, where are you getting the figures from?
I heard it in a report.
You heard it?
Yes.
So you haven't got any evidence?
Unless we're now...
where are you getting it from? Why don't you just tell me?
From the show previous to this one. So if we're now in the business of transmitting inaccurate... Are
you saying the sports bar
and
said
erroneous
that
behaviour?
They couldn't sell the tickets?
I'm not saying it's necessarily that show. I'm saying in a show before this one, OK? I doubt that we are in the business of transmitting...
Why are you being so sort of defensive now?
Erroneous and inaccurate information.
According to many of the tweets that I have here, here's one from Matty. How can Porky say that Europa is a nothing competition? The winner gets into the Champions League. The incentive is there.
Yeah, but that's only one team in the whole of the competition.
Damien says,
64 teams enter it.
Damien says, shut up, Parry. If Liverpool and United were playing in a pre-season friendly, they would sell out. Why did the last leg sell then? And here's one from Africa Industry Mag, who says, I've been at midweek games in the Carling Cup against lower leagues with 75,000 at Old Trafford.
Yes.
Your man is talking rubbish.
Oh, yeah?
And Rob says that Liverpool sold out the first leg, Porky.
What?
The first leg was sold out at Anfield.
Okay, yeah, well, Anfield's a smaller ground than Old Trafford, and it's under reconstruction at the moment, so it's quite a limited capacity, I'm told.
I'm sorry, I'm not convinced that you've got any evidence to back this, what you've been saying up at all.
Did you hear Al on the breakfast show this morning?
I heard bits of it,
From Cheltenham. He's wonderful as ever. And
well, by the way, I'll tell you what a lot of people heard.
Yeah.
It was you doing the pay-per-view.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of people remarked, oh, isn't it funny how Porky seems to sound fine when he's doing the pay-per-view with Alan Brazil, but when he's doing the overnight show with you, he's all like, I'm feeling terrible.
Yeah, but hang on.
You didn't say anything to him.
I'd had a 3-hour break from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. to revive myself, to take strong medicine.
Yeah, but you didn't go on. You didn't bang on about it, and you didn't
drink coffee,
and you didn't cough once.
Excuse me.
You didn't cough once. You didn't cough once.
I'm okay now. What I was going to say was, Al was going on about not going on. He was talking about a horse was running, right? A horse was running.
It's not the one from that Victorian poisoner's book.
No.
Thank goodness for that.
No, a horse was running, and the horse was owned by a consortium of people, including, I think, his mate Chubby Chandler, who is the sports impresario, right?
Oh, yeah. The agent guy?
Yeah, the agent guy.
The guy who's the agent for all the golfers
Yes,
as well.
that's right. Yeah, exactly. That goes on.
Yeah.
And a few other people, but including Anton Deck.
Uh-huh.
And Al said, and it was great because I saw the lad yesterday, and I was talking to, who's the little one? And I have to admit, I get the same, don't you?
What, which one is which?
Yes.
Well, Ant is the taller one and Deck is the smaller one.
Yeah, are you sure about that?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah. They were at Piers Morgan's party.
Yeah, oh, I see. So you've become friends of theirs, have you?
I'm not friends of
theirs.
But I mean, I see them. I saw them many times before that because they used to come to Pride of Britain at the Mirror, which we hosted every year at the Park Lane Hotel. Have you ever met them?
What?
Have you ever met them?
Yes, I have actually.
Have you?
Yes, met them here. And they came here to do a show, and I happened to be around because I was a big shot. And,
you were a big shot?
Yes.
When? When was this then? That's been a while ago.
Well, I think most people regard me as a big shot most of the time, to be honest. But anyway...
most people don't regard you as big anything.
Excuse me.
Apart from a big
plonker. And they signed a...
Seen the time, by the way.
They signed a photograph for me, one of their publicity vouchers.
What, you got them to sign a picture?
Yes.
How pathetic.
Hang on.
How pathetic is that?
Do you want to hear this out?
No, I don't, because that shows you up for what you are.
And do you know what it said?
Complete and utter dunderhead.
And do you know what it said?
Embarrassing.
It said, with all my heart to all the patients at Harefield Hospital. Okay?
Yeah, right.
You twerp.
Yeah. So what, you gave it to all the patients? Did they tear it up and have a little piece of it each?
No, it was auctioned at the dinner to raise money for Harefield Hospital.
Was Dr. Banner
Is that all right?
Was Dr. Banner there?
Yeah, he was actually, yeah. Is that all right?
You know, I've linked up with him on LinkedIn.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
He says he's going to come on the show.
Is it all right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, but
he has.
Yeah.
No, he has.
Oh, yeah, of course.
He's very excited.
Oh, yeah.
He's very excited.
That'd be ridiculous.
He says, I wish Mike had asked me earlier. I said to him that you'd asked him if he was willing to come on.
No, I've never asked him. He's a professional man.
No, but I said that you'd asked me to. It's not a stunt.
It's a stunt.
I'll show you my communication with him.
Utter
Dr.
rubbish.
Banner's coming on next week.
Utter
and he'll
rubbish.
tell us exactly what's wrong with you.
What a load of
I think
nonsense.
what the real guy we need to talk to is your psychiatrist, frankly.
You're
This
off your rocker, you are.
Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Radio's #1 goal machine.
Stunning finish!
The Football Club on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
5151, somebody call the po-po. I'm going crazy, thinking about you, baby. 5151, just a side of loco. I'm going crazy, think I love you, baby.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. There will, of course, be Porky Vision coming out a little bit later on. There'll be a podcast being made available as well. How about this? Before we talk to Ross Dyer, who's a fellow Evertonian of yours, by the way.
Great guy, Ross.
And he
great
works
guy.
for Fox
Great man.
and, ESPN.
Great man.
How about this from... it keeps moving, this, which is really bothering me.
Yeah. What's moving?
My tweets keep moving. This one from Nick, who says, Porky, being a Juventus fan, I'm gutted tonight, seeing that Everton lose so many games while ahead. How do you cope?
How do I cope?
Yeah.
What's that got to do with Juventus?
Well, Juventus were 2-0 up against Bayern Munich, right? In one of the great games in the Champions League. They've lost 4-2.
Yeah, but
he's saying Everton do that all the time. How do you cope? That's the question.
No, but they were also 2 down. So I don't get this great thing. They were 2 down.
How were they 2 down?
When they went into the game, they were 2 down.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were.
Don't
No, they
talk
drew
rubbish.
2-2. Yes, they did.
Yeah,
that was the sequence of
It
scoring.
was the first leg, though.
Yeah, well, I don't care. You know, it's not the same at all. Sorry. Just get your facts right,
Sometimes you are as thick as a barn
No,
door.
no, no,
really.
no, no, no. You just have to hide your stupidity.
They were 2-0 up and they lost 4-2.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Aggregate score was 4-4.
Yeah, but they didn't have the advantage when they came into the game. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I know you can't
I'm
get
going to talk
these
to Ross
things.
because he's far more sensible.
Yeah.
Than you. Ross, a very good morning to you, man.
How are you, gents? How's it going?
Yeah, well, not
very good
not
shape,
very
thanks.
well. Porky doesn't seem to understand the corollary that I'm making between Everton and Juventus. And I mean, you as an Everton fan must have some sympathy with Juventus fans. 2-0 up, losing 4-2. I mean, it's a bit like the West Ham game, isn't it?
Let's just leave it at it's not going to be the last time that you hear Everton and Juventus in the same sentence in the next few years. That.
Why do you think that is then? What you think is Everton are going to be somehow catapulted into the Champions League with their new sort of dirty money scenario?
Yeah, I think Juventus are going to fail. Everton are going to succeed.
I wasn't asking you. I was asking Ross. Go on, Ross.
I was going to say that's for you to say and for me and Porky to celebrate.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
But what a great game, though. I mean, there haven't been many games in the Champions League this season, apart from those involving Barcelona, that have actually kind of got you excited. But this one was terrific.
Absolutely incredible game. Loved it. I had to watch it across a multiple number of screens because the coverage kept changing because of the Barcelona and the Arsenal game as well. So I was streaming it at one point. I was watching it at another.
Right.
And you didn't want to take your eyes off it. It was absolutely brilliant. I just think that, when you see that sort of that comeback from Bayern Munich, I think for the last 20 minutes or so, they were all over Juventus. But, they scored the first goal and it didn't seem like they were that energised. They were so patient, and the second goal could hardly have come any later from Müller. But I suppose it just goes to show when you do have that class and you have that patience, you realise that you're going to get the opportunity at some point. When you have a player like Lewandowski or Müller, you're always going to put it away, and they did that. And there was only one winner from there on in for me.
Yeah, I suppose that's right. But what about, the reputation of Pep Guardiola? Because a lot of people ask the question, how easy is it going to be for him to come to Manchester City and replicate his work at Bayern and at Barcelona? But let's not forget, he hasn't won... God, he's coughing away like an old...
Sorry, mate, I've got pneumonia.
He's got pneumonia. He hasn't really... I mean, of course, he's won the Bundesliga, but he hasn't won the Champions League at Bayern Munich. And the team started in the first half like a team that did not have Pep Guardiola as a manager.
It seemed like they'd lost a little bit of their belief. Juventus obviously had the better game plan, didn't they, at the beginning of the match? And they effectively did to Bayern what Bayern did to them in the first game. They just stormed them. And then, Bayern Munich finally, through all of the changes Guardiola had made, in fact, I think he should have perhaps brought on Goetze, but who am I to say? He brought on Coman instead, and Coman did brilliantly to set up the goal, which kept them in it, and then scored the one which clinched it. So, that's what Guardiola does. He's a bit of a tinker man on the sidelines during the game, and he's obviously got a lot of work to do when he comes to Manchester City. That's going to be of a very different kind of work to the work he's been carrying out in the Allianz. Different culture, different league, different competition.
That's true.
It's all up for grabs.
Now, the thing is, Ross, you used the expression there, tinker. Now, of course, Claudio Ranieri was known as the Tinker Man. Now, it looks like he might be the manager of the new champions of the English Premier League. Now, that could spread like wildfire across the continent, because when people realise, hang on, it's not all about money after all. It's about good managers, good players, good organisation, good consistent play. The whole scenario could change. And Pep Guardiola might be, actually, an old-fashioned manager with a chequebook who no longer rules the roost.
Well, what's
he talking about?
Barcelona,
you know what I'm talking about.
His work at Barcelona.
Sorry, Ross, are you having trouble understanding plain English? Huh? Sorry, what is this hysteria?
Well, talk about Ranieri being the Tinker Man. Hasn't he only played about 18 players this year?
Right. He has barely changed. It's the most unchanged Premier League side in history, I think.
Yeah, it is. 14 players.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
But on the Guardiola thing, I mean, he obviously got all of his plaudits at Barcelona for the work he did with La Masia. So he's not afraid to try and school the players. And I think his ultimate aim would be to build a dynasty at City. And, you know, for all of the checkbook spending that they have lavished over the last few years, you get the feeling that essentially those owners would love to see him put to good use all of the investment they've put in with the new training complex. So I think overall they'd like to see him bring players through, and I think that would be his aim as well. But he's soon going to find out whether the players at Manchester City's academy are of a good enough standard, and whether he's going to have to be very patient to try and bring in a new crop and sort of flood that academy with even more foreign players. I know they've got a lot at the moment.
Well, I just wonder. I mean, when you watch,
who he wants to replace.
I mean, when you watch a game like that last night, and when you watch some of the, I mean, you watch Atletico Madrid, who played pretty well the other night. You watch Barcelona, of course, and Real Madrid not having a great season, but you don't quite see Manchester City in the same company, really, do you? If you'll pardon the pun.
No, especially without company.
Yeah, especially without him.
First quarter final for them, and yeah, I don't think that they're quite at the same class at the moment. But you've got to give them credit for making a really good fist of it this year, and the draw was at least kind to them in the round of 16. No disrespect to Dynamo Kiev, but I think, you know, depending on who they get in the next round, I mean, they might have a very pleasant draw. They would obviously see some of the sides there as more favourable than others. But you never know. It's got to be done over two legs, and that's really where City have come unstuck in the past. Is you know, going into Europe into the spring part of the season, being able to manage a tie over two legs against a really high caliber opposition. So we'll see who they get. You know, leave nothing to chance, but you know, we've lost Juventus today, and you've still got Wolfsburg in there. You've still got Benfica, who sometimes get the European shudders. So, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And what about tonight? Just very briefly, Ross, we got Man United, Liverpool, the rematch, of course. Spurs, you pretty much think would have to, you know, if you believe what every Spurs fan is saying, oh yeah, we didn't want to be in the Europa League, so therefore they're not going to bother trying to beat the Dortmund team on the return game. So probably just one team from the Premier League in the Europa League as well then.
It might be, yeah. But it beats last year where we didn't have a European quarter-finalist for the first time in over 20 years. So at least we get one in each competition to cheer for. But, you know, Tottenham, you know, I know they got hammered by the press for saying, or a lot of the media for, you know, playing the team that they did in the first leg against Borussia Dortmund. But I think I counted that 9 of the 11 that they played in the first leg in Dortmund were the 11 who played the first leg in Florence when they obviously came through in the second leg by winning by 3-goal margin. So you don't leave anything out. I know Borussia Dortmund are very different sides to Fiorentina, and it's a very different proposition facing Tottenham now, without the chance to go through and sort of start the game in the right way. But it has been done. I mean, I know a couple of years ago they had a problem with Inter Milan almost coming back after losing the first leg 3-0. So they know that it can be done. It's just, I'm not sure the criticism that's been thrown at them for sort of resting players, quote unquote, is that fair, considering they're a few points off possibly winning their first title in a good while.
Well, I guess what's going to happen is we'll find out tonight whether Pochettino, in fact, did throw the game, as some Spurs fans suggested, or whether he made a great big blunder and would actually quite like to stay in the Europa League. We'll talk some more about that coming up.
Honestly, I'm very consistent on the Europa League. I think that if your team's in it, that means that you've had a good team the season before, you finished 5th or 6th or something like that. And in my view, the Europa League is just a millstone round your neck trying to improve on last year's domestic performance and get into the top 4. So I've always been like that.
But the trouble is you get your facts wrong, you see, because a lot of people are pointing out that the first leg between Bayern and Juventus was 2-2.
2-2, of course it was.
So they were never 2-0 down from the first leg.
Exactly, that's
what you said.
Right.
So Anonymous says the first leg was, in fact, 2-2. What a plank Porky is.
No. You didn't understand what I was saying.
Yeah.
Within the 2-2 from the first leg, there was a 2-0 deficit, right?
What?
Agreed? There was a 2-0 deficit.
The first leg was 2-2.
Yes, I know. But
so where's the 2-goal deficit?
Because during the 2-2, at one stage, it was 2-0. That's what I'm saying.
To whom?
What do you mean to whom?
Who was it 2-0 to?
Are you mad? By the way, I'll tell you something.
You don't know, do you?
You know tomorrow morning's papers, or the papers we've got now?
Yes.
It's one day in the year when it's not worth buying a paper, because half of it is full of budget stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It is so boring.
Well, you have talked about the sugar tax.
I've talked about the sugar tax, because the sugar tax is, in my view, a con trick to try and elicit more tax out of us all, to try and plug the gap in the nation's finances, because the Chancellor as all chancellors, simply cannot balance his books. And do you know why?
Yeah, why?
They give far too much money away in welfare budget.
Oh, yeah.
The welfare budget should be slashed dramatically, and people should be made to stand on their own 2 feet. Stand on their own 2 feet.
Are you saying that I shouldn't work my way through the 12-page Guardian pullout on the budget?
Well,
Are you saying that there's nothing in there for me?
Do you know what I would do with that?
What?
I would use that to line the cat litter tray. That's what I'd use that for.
I haven't got a cat.
No, I haven't either. But I mean,
why have
I'd
you got a cat litter
well,
tray? Well,
I'd give it away to somebody who's got a cat litter tray and say, I'll use
why
this
don't
to
you
line
give it to some of those filthy tramps that you see on the way out of the office?
No, that's a very unfair thing to say about tramps.
By the
They're
way,
not all filthy.
we should talk about that crime that was committed last night, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we will in a minute. By the way, I'm just looking, because just so that people know we haven't got any political persuasions, the Telegraph,
No,
right?
don't worry, I don't think they think that.
Yeah, the Telegraph, which is the most right-wing newspaper, here, it's got, I'm not joking,
you've got 10 seconds.
8 broadsheet pages of the budget report.
I've just told you the Guardian's got 12.
Listen to this, folks.
No, we haven't got time. We haven't got time.
Wait, I've just thrown it away.
Good. Top man. I'm going to throw you out in a minute.
TalkSport 2, The Prodigal Son, is on the air. It's so new, you'll need to retune your DAB radio to receive it. Find out how at TalkSport.com/retune. Coming up today on TalkSport 2. From 1, live World 2020 cricket.
Hear full commentary of Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan.
Ball there to a ball, and he's bowled him.
From 8, Super League Live.
Hear full, uninterrupted commentary as Wigan Warriors clash with Widnes Vikings.
We love rugby league. It's a great game.
From 10, ATP World Tour Master Series Tennis.
Hear all the action from Indian Wells as the world's best tennis players go head-to-head.
Nadal's got it back with the forehands away.
TalkSport 2, The Prodigal Son, is on the air. Online and on DAB, because sport never stops.
This is TalkSport. We are the two mics. Loads more to come, of course. The podcast will be out sometime later on this morning.
Yep.
We're off to Cheltenham on Friday.
You certainly are.
It looks to me as though you're on the comeback trail. It looks to me as if you're better than you were yesterday. Better,
well, I'm a bit brighter.
Yeah, you are a bit... Well, not brighter, as I said. You can't be any more dim, really.
No. Yeah, I mean livelier.
I know that's what you mean.
I've got a subject for the quiz.
Have you?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, because we were meant to decide it yesterday and we forgot to do it, didn't we? So what is it?
We're taking the mickey out of this new newspaper, so let's have a quiz on Fleet Street.
A quiz on Fleet Street?
Fleet Street,
That's a great idea.
Yes, OK.
I'll have to write that down, but I don't seem to have a pen here for some reason.
Well, you can't forget that. It's Fleet Street, you know.
Yeah, but
it's where we work
write
for
it
most
down.
of our lives.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I know.
Yeah,
well, what do you reckon? You'll get 10 out of 10 then if you know so much about it?
Now, listen, got some tweets here. I've got to read out to you. OK, firstly, here we go. Right, here we go. Porky, you're a true legend, inspiration to us all. We know how unwell you are, yet for the listeners, you're soldiering on. You are a hero.
Oh,
that's from Gary. Thanks, Gary.
That came in before the show.
Well, doesn't matter.
You've been saving that one up, haven't you?
No, I only got it 4 minutes ago,
really?
so that's it, right? OK. Now, to move on, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is quite interesting, because you just said that we're going to Cheltenham on today.
Friday.
Tomorrow,
yeah.
We're
not going today.
So Alan says, right, and I'm a bit reluctant to read this, because it puts you and I in the same bracket as those disgusting footballers, but he says... OK, guys, keep Porky away from the pint glasses and the balconies, OK?
Yeah.
So I know what he's talking about, but actually...
That guy apologised, didn't he?
Yes, he did, yes. He has apologised, the footballer concerned. But there's an awful lot written about it today, including this ridiculous piece on the back of the Telegraph sports section by some chap whose name is James Corrigan, who is actually writing a piece saying, don't blame the footballers.
Good Irish name, that.
Yeah, good Irish name. Don't blame the footballers. Blame the environment in which they found themselves. Drinking culture is the issue, not spoilt footballers.
What?
Really?
Well, so the fact that anybody can go for a drink then, but nobody except these guys did that...
Exactly.
Means that they have no responsibility for themselves. What a complete and utter load of old tosh.
Complete idiot. He says, it would be easy to look at those footballers urinating into glasses in the plush box at Cheltenham and trot out the usual trite line about the beautiful game creating entitled monsters and the moral bankruptcy of a pursuit awash with money.
Uh-huh.
But this case should not be held up as an example of what happens when young professional footballers attend social events dressed up as sporting occasions. This is what happens when young professionals attend social events dressed up as social occasions, whether they be bricklayers, doctors, carpenters, accountants or whatever. utter nonsense, Mr. Corrigan.
Is it not right to say that the guy who booked the box, who's some kind of a football agent, has been now banned?
Oh, he's in terrible trouble. I'll tell you what's happened there. His name is Will Salthouse. Will Salthouse, the shamed agent hosting the Cheltenham hospitality box, in which football guests urinated into a pint glass and emptied it over the balcony, is also in trouble with fellow middlemen. Not only was Salthouse's Unique Sports Management, that's the name of his company, barred from their Cheltenham booking yesterday, but other agents were furious with Salthouse for entertaining their clients and, creating the atmosphere of disgust.
Yeah, because don't forget, the girls who bared their breasts were in the same box, I believe.
The box next door, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, but it was. I think it was part of the same group, if you see what I mean.
Now, here's one from Rob, who says, when Everton were in the last English team in the Europa League last season, Porky said they were representing England.
Well, they were if they were the only team left, weren't they?
Yeah, but you were quite excited about that.
Doesn't mean to say that, that I still think it was a good idea. I have to keep stressing that.
More news from Fleet Street, by the way. Have you seen that Neil Ashton, formerly of the Daily Mail, quite often a correspondent and a contributor on TalkSport, has now moved to The Sun?
Yes, he has, yes.
And it says, read his brilliant new column on the back page of The Sun this morning. Guess what he's written about?
He's written about John Stones.
He says, Sad Stones has a weight problem.
Yeah, I know.
Not W-E-I-G-H-T, but W-A-I-T.
Yeah, he says he's going to be waiting now to get into the Everton team and wait to get into the England team.
And he's saying he thinks Martinez is paving the way for him to be kind of shunted out for a large amount of money.
Well,
do you think that's possible?
I don't know. These guys who write these columns in newspapers, they can theorise on anything they like. I've met a lot of sporting columnists over the years, and by the way, sorry, because we've got some pictures on one of our internal monitors, right? A guy who's an American, who for some unknown reason was in North Korea.
Oh, yeah, the guy's been sentenced to 15 years.
15 years hard labour in a North Korean labour camp.
He's a student, apparently.
He's a student, and what he did was he tried to take off a message
on a poster in his hotel room.
Yeah, on the wall in his hotel room, and put it in his suitcase and take it home.
Yeah.
And he was copped at the airport, and he was accused of, state vandalism or something like that, you know, and presumably they thought he was some kind of a spy or something. 15 years hard labour. It reminds me of when I was in Libya one time, right? And
what did you steal from the hotel there?
No, I didn't. I'll tell you what I did. We were all walking over the wreckage of some, bomb site or something. The Americans had bombed it and all that. And I picked up the nose of an American missile about the size of a cup.
So quite a small sort of cone,
but it was the nose. Head. It was the cone head of an American missile with American
like
wording
one of those
on
kind of sidewinder type ones.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. And I thought, what a terrific.
How'd you get that through customs?
Well, this is what I'm saying. I thought, what a terrific memento to take home. A keepsake.
You're supposed to pick things up from those places.
Well, you're not really supposed to, but I mean,
probably killed there.
Well, it could well have been, yeah. It was perhaps a little bit tactless. But anyway,
probably.
I got to the airport, right, and I had this stuff in my head. And then it kind of dawned on me, because I was watching how thoroughly they were searching baggage, as people were leaving Libya on this occasion, that I thought they might not think this is a very good idea. So I surreptitiously took out of my bag and put it in a rubbish bin, right? And
what did you have a bag for?
Hey?
Why were you walking around with a bag?
Because I was leaving Libya, so I had a suitcase.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant when you were leaving the bomb site.
No. I'd taken it home from the bomb site to my
And were you not being
hotel.
escorted around by sort of Libyan hoods?
Yeah, sort of,
Did they not see you lifting it then?
Well, the point is, the civil war was just about to break out in Libya, and nobody quite knew whether Gaddafi was alive or dead, so they weren't sure whether they were pro or anti-Gaddafi until a few days later when Gaddafi suddenly emerged
again.
again.
Make up their minds.
No, exactly, that's right, yeah. But, no, I remember thinking it was a very close call, because I heard later that somebody else who tried to come back with something else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was a spent missile or something like that. It was quite a bit bigger than the nose cone of a missile. Actually got done and detained for quite long, for 6 weeks, for trying to do the same sort of thing.
So what you're saying is you escaped without having to be incarcerated.
Exactly, but that couldn't have been much fun being in a Libyan jail.
Is that the best story you've got from your time in a war zone?
No, not really.
You decided not to walk out with a piece of sort of stolen shell?
No. The best I've got is being hit by a missile and
you weren't hit by a missile, though.
Well, it hit the floor above me in the hotel I was in and blew the top...
The floor above the bar?
No. Blew the top 4 floors of the hotel off. It was quite an astonishing incident. But anyway, that's by the by. I've told that story before. Now, the point is, I want to tell you about a situation developing which I think is going to be revolutionary in our understanding of Christianity.
Have you seen the time, though?
Well, don't worry about the time.
We've now given you a screen with the time on it.
Yeah, I've got the time, yeah.
We've got this brand new screen.
Yeah,
now.
actually, I quite like that. That's quite good.
So you can look at that and you can see when the big hand gets to the 3 o'clock position, that's when we have to stop.
Yeah.
Where is it now?
We will in a minute. By the way, talking about the Twitter emails and all that we're getting in, we've got an inquiry from quite a few listeners asking, saying, how nice it is to see our new station, Talk Sport 2.
Oh, yeah.
And they pointed out that there's some cricket commentary going on there and all this kind of stuff. And asking, very pertinent question, is this the end now of Mike Parry's tennis commentary career?
I don't think so.
Because we have Talk Sport 2. Do we know? Have we got an answer to that one?
No, I think if there is some decent tennis on over the course of this evening or any time this week, we might do a little bit of it. If you're up for that.
Oh, yeah, I'd be up for that.
Excellent. Okay, all right, lots more to come, including a dinosaur expert very shortly here on Talk Sport.
UEFA Champions League football live on Talk Sport. Get set for another season of exhilarating European football action.
Come on!
Featuring full match commentaries of all the Premier League teams in action and updates and goal flashes as they hit the back of the net.
Champions of Europe again.
Plus full-on post-match phone-ins following all the action. UEFA Champions League football live on Talk Sport with Direct Line. For 5-star rated van insurance, search Direct Line Van.
John, I think we need to make our marriage work harder.
What? It's the moustache, isn't it?
No, it's our marriage allowance. There's up to £212 waiting for us to claim. Although now you mention it, I think you could lose the moustache.
Yes, dear.
If you're married or in a civil partnership and one of you earns less than £10,600 and the other pays basic rate tax, there is up to £212 of tax savings waiting for you to claim. It takes less than 10 minutes to apply at gov.uk/marriage allowance.
The stylish new Mini Clubman is far from standard, but its beautifully detailed interior, unique 6-door design, state-of-the-art technology and satellite navigation all come as standard. So enjoy exceptional and exceptional value as standard. The new Mini Clubman. Book a test drive at your nearest Mini Centre or mini.co.uk/value. Test drive is subject to status and availability.
If you fancy a flutter on the football, a gamble on the golf, a double on the darts, or a treble on the tennis, you're in luck. Get closer to the action every weekend with Betway's Man in the Know on the Weekend Sports Breakfast with Georgie Bingham and Mickey Quinn, bringing you all the form on the football, the going at Goodwood and the overs at the Oval every Saturday and Sunday morning from 7 on TalkSport with Betway. Get exclusive Cheltenham insight from Richard Johnson at betway.com. Bet the responsible way.
Hawksby and Jacobs.
We've all worked with people we don't necessarily think, we'd want to go on holiday with.
This afternoon from 1.
You're trying to tell me something?
Talk Sport.
We are the two mics. Porkyvision coming up later on. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on, of course, as well. Bit of UB40 there for you.
Now, that's UB40. Now, the reason I asked our technical experts to just come up with a few notes of UB40, right?
Yeah.
From my legal journals, I learn there is a really big feud going on between the brothers at the who formed UB40, OK?
This has been going on for a while, I think, isn't it?
Well, it's come to court now in a big way. A court has been asked to decide whether one half of the reggae band should have exclusive rights to the name, or if another half, which includes Ali Campbell, the former lead singer, should be able to use the name of the band too.
Why don't they just use UB20 each, and then that would be 40, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but UB40 is an iconic name, isn't it? They sold... I'll tell you what...
I'm joking, you complete moron.
Yeah, I know. Well, yes, but when you put stupid sort of propositions into the argument like that, I try to take it seriously, just to illustrate to the audience what a complete buffoon you are.
Yeah, but you know when they talk about the wisdom of Solomon, which is all about whether you cut the child in half.
That's right.
Which, of course, you can't do. You can very easily cut 40 in half and make it UB20. Actually, that is a very sensible solution.
It's not, because the iconic name of UB40 is what the dispute's all about.
Do you know what it stands for? Because I've told you this before.
Yes, it's the isn't it the unemployment form name?
Correct.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Unemployment benefit.
Benefit name,
stands
yeah.
for.
Now then, listen to this. Robin and Duncan Campbell, who are Ali's brothers, are among 6 members of the band who remained after Ali, who was the founder, departed in 2008.
Yeah.
Now, they claim their band should now have sole rights to UB40's name and are suing Ali in the High Court. Oh, excuse me. Did you have to laugh so loudly?
Because you sound so ridiculous.
Oh, excuse me, what's the problem?
How about I read this out from Derek in Penkyde while you compose yourself?
Dennis, the lavatory cleaner.
That's right. Derek, not Dennis. He says, has Porky ever done a show where he hasn't insulted anyone, i.e. former classmates, you, or the homeless?
I don't insult people. I merely speak the word of the common man.
OK.
Now, let me just get on with this, please.
Yeah, go on.
Right, they claim, that's the two brothers, the band had sole rights to the UB40 name and are suing Ali in the High Court for using it too. Now, Edmund Cullen QC, a very eminent gentleman
I'm not familiar with Edmund Cullen.
Yeah, I am, the legal profession, yeah.
Is he a mate of yours, is he?
Well, I'm aware of him.
OK.
Representing the 6, said they were recognised by fans as the true continuation of the band.
Really?
Which had 3 number-1 hits in the 1980s and 90s with, Red, Red Wine they did, I see. Red, red wine.
Well, have you never heard of this band?
Well, I love the song. I think it's a very nice song. I didn't know it was them. Right, I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. Is that the same one that Andy Williams did?
Yes.
No,
it's the Elvis one. No, it's the Elvis one. It's the Elvis one.
Oh, which one's that? How does it go?
Because I can't help falling in love.
Oh, that's right. I'll do it for you. I can't help falling in love with you like a river flows fast down to the sea. Is it that one?
No, that's the wrong song.
Oh, is that right? OK, and then
you were sick.
Oh, we are. And this one they did as well. I remember this one. Yeah, sorry. I Got You, Babe.
Well,
I got
now
you,
what's
babe.
the relevance of that song?
It's Sonny and Cher.
No.
I Got You, Babe.
No, that's not the relevance of it.
What is the relevance of it?
How many times do I need to tell you this?
What?
You got a memory like a sieve.
What's you talking about?
That was the song that was played at my wedding.
Oh, the song was the song you played at your wedding?
When, you know, in the traditional way, when you get up with your new bride and you dance to a song.
Very good.
And it was in Bob Smith's loft in
That's
Soho.
Right. I remember, I was there.
I know you were there. That's why I can't believe I have to keep telling you this.
But
that was our wedding song.
But it was an original from Sonny and Cher, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Oh, that's where you go. Right, now to go on about this case, Ali, that's Ali Campbell, who, we know a couple of Ali Campbells, don't we? We know
Alistair Campbell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not the same.
Don't want to go into that, thank you.
No.
Right,
I think about George Galloway's.
Who is?
Ali Campbell.
Well, this Ali Campbell of UB40.
Yeah.
Well, what's the connection there?
I don't know. He's just been on his show quite a few times.
George is not exactly a reggae freak, is he?
I don't think he's a freak of any kind.
OK.
But it's interesting you should say that.
Right. Ali contends that his band, which features the former keyboardist Mickey Virtue and Terence Astro Wilson, is the one the public wish to see.
Right.
So what the picture's emerging here is that the two brothers are going round with a load of musicians saying, we're UB40, but Ali, who says he's the original founder, is going round with another couple of musicians and says, we're UB40, right?
Well, I would say Ali is the one that most people would know.
It's a bit like if, for instance, I'll give you an example. Supposing Marty Pello went on the road with a group of singers and called himself Wet, Wet, Wet.
Yeah.
Because he's Marty Pello, people would say, oh, yeah, it's Wet, Wet, Wet.
Yeah.
If, however, another member of the band went on the road and got a new lead singer and called themselves Wet, 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 you wouldn't recognise that as Wet, Wet, Wet.
Again, Wisdom of Solomon-wise, they could split into 3 bands and just call each other Wet.
Well, that was if there's 3 bands. What would you call it if there were 2 bands? Wet and a half.
One could be called Wet Wet, and the other one would just be called Wet.
Or Wet and a half. Right, anyway, the reggae pop group from Birmingham sold 120 million albums, right?
What?
120 million... What's your problem?
I was thinking about various permutations of what they could be called.
Oh, I just think that's childish kindergarten nonsense.
Why?
That rubbish about Wet, 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 you idiot. Right, the reggae pop group from Birmingham sold 120 million albums... And this is a strange expression from a legal report.
Oh, yeah.
And cracked America.
Quacked?
Cracked America with 2 number 1 singles in their pomp. That pomp.
Why is that a strange thing to say?
Well, I think it's a strange way to word a legal document. But Ali left in 2008, citing a business dispute.
Yeah.
He said in 2014 he had not spoken to Robin or Duncan.
Who's Robin?
They're brothers. They're his two brothers.
Oh, Robin Campbell.
Yeah, Robin Campbell and Duncan Campbell, who are contesting the name of the group, right? Yeah. Said he has not spoken to them since leaving the band. So that was 2008. Okay. Imagine not speaking to your brothers for 8 years. That's sad. That's sad.
It is sad. But there's lots of that going on, you know. People don't speak to their parents. People don't speak to their children. It's a terrible blight, actually. I mean, if anybody, and I don't give advice to anyone, but I mean, if you're in some kind of dispute with your members of your family, you should just make it up.
Oh,
it's not worth it.
Sometimes the scars are so deep. Anyway, very briefly.
Well, I know that they are for you, but not for most
The rights to UB40 songs were then sold after the company that technically employed the band went into liquidation.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody bought the backlog, okay?
So they had like a holding company.
Yeah, well, no.
Should we get one of them?
No, just like Beatles had NEMS Enterprises, right? This lot had a publishing company,
they had
okay?
What did the Beatles have?
NEMS, N-E-M-S.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was that before Apple then?
Oh, way before Apple.
Oh, okay.
Brian Epstein.
Oh, that was Epstein's company?
No, it wasn't actually. It was a guy called, I've forgotten his name now, but he worked in a road called Whitechapel in Liverpool, and Brian Epstein needed a publisher for the Beatles songs, so he went to him and said, "Would you do a publisher?"
Oh, was that Northern Songs and all that?
Yeah, that's right, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Now then, now the reason this is so interesting is because at the same time, guess what I found out today? That since Michael Jackson died, right, and owed $300 million, his estate for his children has been turned into a $1 billion powerhouse, literally.
Right.
Through songs, right? And guess what?
So he's not in debt anymore then?
He's not in debt anymore at all. Michael Jackson's 3 children have seen their trust fund break through the $1 billion mark after Sony, this is the interesting part, Mike, Sony bought the late singer's rights to music from stars including the Beatles and Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
How about that? Did you know that?
You know, I saw a story somewhere in the last couple of days about some Michael Jackson massive sale of some of his songs.
No, I'll tell you what it says here. Sony is to pay $750 million to the estate of the late Michael Jackson to buy out one of the music industry's great treasures, a publishing business that includes the rights to the music and lyrics of the Beatles, the Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan.
Right.
I mean, that is an amazing situation.
Well, because all this stuff was sold on very early on in their careers, wasn't it? And they never got it back. Absolutely extraordinary.
Paul McCartney's been trying to get it back ever since. And in fact, I think when Michael Jackson bought his 50% share, and Sony had the other 50%, right, of the Beatles' rights, Paul McCartney and Yoko Ono, it was a long time after John Lennon decided to
try and buy it.
They tried to buy it and they were outbid.
Yeah.
They were outbid by Michael Jackson.
Extraordinary.
And remember, Paul McCartney rang up Michael Jackson, according to the report I heard, the legend, Michael Jackson's now dead, of course. And Paul McCartney said, and Michael Jackson did his usual kind of, "Oh, Paul, I'm so sad about this.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how this has happened.
Right.
I don't know what's going on here.
I'm just going to inject myself with some more anaesthetic.
Paul, you know, I love you. I love the world. I love my children. I don't know how I suddenly acquired your records, Paul. Oh, no.
And you suggested he wasn't as dumb as he appeared.
Ebony and Ivory.
Dear God. William says this: I think Porky must have secret investments in the energy companies, telling everybody to rise at 4:30 and turning up the heat everywhere he goes, even in TalkSport towers.
It's absolutely true.
I've actually turned it down a bit now because I'm starting to feel a bit
it's not absolutely true. I've got shares in the power industries, but it's absolutely true. We should all get up at 4:30 in the morning because it makes you, what is it? Early to bed, early to rise, makes a man...
A dull wally.
No, makes a man wealthy something and wise.
Healthy, wealthy and wise.
Healthy, wealthy and wise. That's the word.
You're not healthy.
Well, I'm not,
you're not wise.
I'm ailing.
So the only thing you are is wealthy. So only 1/3 of that statement works for you. This is Talk Sport.
Croxteth Car Wash. All right?
Right. OK. They said it was a gamble, and it hasn't paid off.
What?
You don't gamble with 20 million quid, and he should pay with his job. It's the same old, the same old mistakes, and the same old excuses.
Yeah, you're right.
We're getting nowhere. We're on a downward spiral. It's not getting any better. It's getting worse.
Hello, this is a car wash, mate. We don't do football.
Sorry, I think I got the wrong number.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. Sorry. Bye.
Yeah.
If you seriously want to talk about football, don't call a car wash. Call Collymore. Cardiovascular comment, super opinionated post-match analysis at the speed of sound. Get it off your chest with the best. Call Collymore.
Sunday afternoon from 4, straight after the Tyne-Wear Derby. Newcastle versus Sunderland. On Talk Sport.
I want the dinosaur. I want the dinosaur.
That's a good song.
It is, yeah. Everybody
Who's
bought
that?
the dinosaur. I don't know who sang that, actually.
Well, why are we playing it then?
Was not was, I'm told. Well, because we're talking about dinosaurs.
Oh, excellent, good.
We've got Denver Fowler on. He's
Excellent.
a paleontologist.
Oh, excellent.
Because
Like
have you
that.
heard that they've found a new, sort of, what they believe is maybe a new species of dinosaur?
Is it a really big one?
Or a type, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's a new form of
A
a
giant sort of
a T-Rex.
dino. Yeah.
And we're going to ask him about it now because
Excellent.
Denver knows all about these things.
Good.
It was found out in Uzbekistan, I understand. Denver, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
Hey, good morning.
Thanks very
good
much.
morning, Denver. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is quite an interesting discovery, is it not? Because it gives us... it's called, if I'm not mistaken, tell me if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Timorlengia. And it's a 90 million-year-old beast. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so it's... I should probably say it first. I'm not one of the people who wrote the paper. It's called Timorlengia uotica, and it's interesting because it's a tyrannosaur. It's called a tyrannosauroid, actually, because it's quite a primitive form. But it fills in a gap in the record of tyrannosaurs. It comes from a time period 90 million years ago when previously we didn't have any fossils of tyrannosaurs that were known.
It says it here. It's nearly 13 metres long. Is that the biggest kind of dinosaur we've had evidence of? I know dinosaurs are supposed to be very big, but that's a 40-foot-long dinosaur. And I have to say, Denver, that is some gigantic beast.
Well, I'm not quite sure where that number came from. The specimen, I believe...
I mean, that's right. Denver, feel free to say he's wrong, because he often is.
Well, that's my information. I've done my research.
No, it's actually quite a bit smaller than that. It's about 3 to 4 metres long.
3 to 4 metres?
And that's what...
So you multiply it by
3 to
10.
4 metres.
That sounds like a miniature dinosaur. This is not a beast at all. This is some kind of, half-baked dinosaur, in my view.
Don't be ridiculous. Sorry about this, Denver.
Yeah, so it's quite a bit smaller than the huge T-Rex and things like that you're probably most familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because it came about 30 million years earlier, about 25, 30 million years earlier in time. And what this new specimen is telling us, this new species is telling us, is how these tyrannosaurs grew to be that big, how they gained all the sort of typical features that we associate with tyrannosaurs.
And it was about the size of a horse, wasn't it? This thing.
Well, I don't know why somebody told me it was 13 metres long. Isn't one of the important points here, Denver, that what's exciting paleontologists and scientists is that the actual cranium space in which the brain was located is bigger than we ever thought it was.
What do you mean, its head?
Yes, that's right, yeah. And that the old, that old fact that's bandied around that dinosaurs had very small brains might not now be true.
Well, that was the first. Well, the main part of the skeleton that they've got is the brain case.
Yeah, the brain case. That's it.
Yeah, and so from that they've done a 3D scan, so using a CT scanner, so they can see the different parts of the brain.
Yes.
And they determine it's a fairly large-sized brain for a dinosaur, but dinosaurs still had relatively small brains compared to, say, birds or mammals.
Right.
It's not necessarily changing things from that perspective, but it is showing us that, for example, the species name means well-eared, and it talks about the development of the hearing of tyrannosaurs, that they're adapted for hearing low-frequency sound.
Right,
and part of what is that this had occurred quite early in their evolution.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it possible, do you think, Denver, that because of the kind of... I don't know, it's going to sound like it's only just happened, but it happened relatively recently, certainly in dinosaur terms.
Yeah.
That you'll make more discoveries in this part of the world, like places like Uzbekistan and other parts of the former Soviet Union, where maybe they weren't looking for this kind of stuff. I mean, there could be a whole treasure trove of fossils, really, couldn't there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the most interesting things, especially for me, I think, is the fact that there are these formations, these rock formations out there that people really haven't looked at very much. And even though this specimen, this skeleton is quite fragmentary, it suggests that there could be much greater things out there if you have people going out looking, big teams of people out looking. Like, it's quite famous. People have been out in China and Mongolia a lot recently.
Yeah.
But Asia is a real growth area for finding new dinosaur fossils.
And what is it that guys like yourself, paleontologists, are looking for exactly? Are there still lots of missing bits of information about how you can think of the way that dinosaurs walked around, when they walked around, how they became extinct? I mean, have you got a favourite theory about why they became extinct?
Actually, I actually presented on this a few years ago. I mean, my idea is that I agree with the idea that there's an asteroid impact.
Right.
I think that's pretty solid right now. However, I think the real question is, how did the asteroid impact kill them off? I mean, why did certain animals survive, whereas most dinosaurs went extinct? Why did we lose all these primitive birds and bird-like dinosaurs, but we kept the derived birds that we have today, the more advanced forms? And so my pet theory is that it's to do with the way that they grow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that really sticks out about dinosaurs is they hatch from eggs, and they're still really small. The biggest eggs you can find are still the size of a small football. And so they have to go from a hatchling all the way up to these huge sort of T-Rex sizes. They go through so many different body sizes as they grow.
Yeah.
They occupy different ecological niches through growth. And basically, I think the asteroid probably knocked out a lot of niches, which break these growth chains up. So it's a bit of a complicated idea, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I guess we just don't know. Will we ever see a sort of a model of this new dinosaur, the size of a horse that's been found in Uzbekistan? And if so, will it appear in the Natural History Museum in London anytime soon?
Well, you'd have to ask the authors about that. I mean, at the moment, there's not that much material, but tyrannosaurs are always very popular, and so I imagine that someone will do a reconstruction. Certainly, there's been artist reconstructions that might get put in the museum.
Okay, because we might have to have a look at one of those, and we'll put it out on Twitter, perhaps. Denver, thank you very much indeed.
Denver, thank you very much indeed.
Taking the time to talk to us. Denver Fowler.
That was a bit of a ropey line, wasn't it? Really?
It wasn't a great line.
Wasn't a great line. But do you know, have you ever thought about...
I mean, you shouldn't hold that against people. I know that sometimes you're one of these perfectionists, right?
Yes.
And you say, oh, well, if they haven't got a very good line, we shouldn't talk to them.
Well, I don't think we should, because, you see, I think the audience is straining to hear what he's saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
but
we find it difficult enough.
Sometimes they're straining to hear what you're saying because you're shouting all the time.
No.
And quite frankly, when they do hear what you're saying, they're
Just
quite
imagine if there hadn't been an asteroid impact and the dinosaurs were still around, would man have developed as we have?
Very possibly not.
Because, I mean, there's no way of fighting the dinosaurs when all you were fighting them with was a spear and a rock.
Well, unless, of course, it might have led to the humans evolving quicker in order to fight the dinosaurs.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think the dinosaurs could trample on anything that was smaller than them.
Yeah, but you could have laid traps for them. You could have made sure that they fell down into great chasms or, caves. Or
But there were so many of them, it'd be like the dinosaurs would just go around eating human beings.
No.
We could...
Well, no, because a lot of them weren't even carnivores. They were herbivores.
OK, so supposing they had survived, but we had managed to marshal them, you see what I mean, corral them, like we did like we do alligators and all that kind of stuff.
Dinosaur zoo.
Where would the dinosaurs be living now? On the Isle of Man? Maybe.
Well, no, they could be in all sorts of
parts.
Could have
shipped them all over there, couldn't we?
They could have been in centre of Africa, in the jungle.
The Isle of Wight?
Could be in the Isle of Wight.
In the Isle of Wight?
Some people say a lot of dinosaurs there still. Well, I mean, you could put them in, down in South America, in the Amazon, maybe.
It'd be amazing, wouldn't it, to think that you could still have dinosaurs roaming the earth? I mean, I suppose that's the basis of the film, isn't it? Jurassic Park.
No.
Isn't it?
No.
The
basis of the film is that they decided to recreate dinosaurs
That's
and put
what I
them in a park.
Yes, I
They're
know.
not roaming the earth.
Yeah, no, but you've got them in modern society. That's what I'm
they're
saying.
not in modern society.
I've never seen Jurassic Park, anyway. So, I think it was rubbish. Because the graphics weren't good enough. So it looked like a cartoon to me.
Really?
I never believed the plot anyway.
Seen it?
I haven't seen it. I
So
don't believe the plot.
about?
Well, I don't know, really. But, I mean, what I'm saying is that, it was garbage.
Right. OK. Unlike some of the rubbish that you come out with. This is Talk Sport.
Roll up, ladies and gentlemen, and prepare to be amazed and astounded by Colin Murray's Carnival of Curiosities, featuring a feast of fascinating facts and a farrago of fiendish falsehoods to untangle from the tantalising truths, as Mr. Murray delights and astonishes you with his assortment of amicable acquaintances. Don't miss Fact or Fiction every Thursday morning from 10 on Talk Sport with Regain for Men Extra Strength Scalp Foam, scientifically proven to help stop and even reverse hereditary hair loss. Contains minoxidil. Always read the label.
Even if you are driving high, you've got no reason to be pulled over, have you? It's not like the weed is affecting you. Anyway, you know these roads, and the police can't tell you're stoned, can they? It's not like your eyes are red or you're acting a bit strange. You'll be fine. Except if you get pulled over, the roadside swab will be able to tell that you've done drugs on the spot, leading to a criminal record, a minimum 12-month driving ban, and a large fine. Think. Don't take drugs and drive.
Bet on any Cheltenham Festival race with 5 or more runners online or on your mobile. And if your horse finishes second, William Hill give you your money back as a free bet. Get money back second online or on mobile with William Hill. Qualifying bets include win or each-way single bets placed day of race. Max refund £25 per customer per race. Free bet stake not included in winnings. T's and C's apply. Over 18s only. When the fun stops, stop.
Make sure you're ahead of the game and listen to Kick-Off on Talk Sport with 888 Sport. Bet you can. Tonight from 7, you get in-depth analysis, heavyweight pundit opinion, and outspoken fan reaction on the nation's most passionate pre-match football forum.
You won't miss a trick, flick, or kick of any of the action.
Plus, hear the latest form and odds ahead of all the matches that matter from 888 Sport's On The Ball Bet Spurt. Kick-Off, weeknights from 7 on Talk Sport with 888 Sport. Bet you can. Please gamble responsibly.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
The pressure's on now.
Relieve the itch. Talk Sport.
Transfer fees up. Season tickets up. High prices up. Why the blooming heck are you still up?
Topical sport and debate worth staying awake for.
The Two Mics.
All night long.
On Talk Sport.
All night long.
Jesus Christ, superstar, do you think you're what they say you
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. How about this from Steve in Sheffield?
Yes.
He says, morning, lads. I went to see UB40 at Donny Races in the summer, and they don't sound as good with that distinctive voice of Ali Campbell.
Oh, well, there you
I'm
go.
sure that's true, because he has got one of those very distinctive, sort of quite high-pitched voices.
Red wine. Yeah. Was that his voice on that?
That was his voice on
well,
that.
There you
exactly,
go. That is pretty distinct, yeah.
And here's one from
go on,
Phil, who says, well done for getting in touch with the famous Dr. Nicholas Banner. Can't wait to hear the truth about Porky's illness.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm sure he won't tell you much about it, because he has signed the Hippocratic Oath, as all doctors do.
Yeah, which has got nothing to do with confidentiality.
It's about that your first instincts have to be to save life.
No, it says do no harm, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it could do me harm to publicise my chronic complaints.
It doesn't say anything about giving away personal information.
What?
It doesn't say anything about giving away personal information.
I think it does. Anyway, listen, you know that song we just played?
Yes.
Jesus Christ Superstar.
Jesus Christ Superstar, yeah. Did you ever see that? On the stage?
I can't remember.
Or they did a film version of it, didn't they?
I think I might have seen it on the stage, actually, really? in New York on Broadway. Does
Possibly,
that make sense?
yeah. Could have done.
And it was written by Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah.
Now, the reason we played that, right, is because I've been reading my ecclesiastical journals.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what, by the way?
It was like Bishop of Lambeth Weekly.
No, ecclesiastical journals. And by the way, I tell you as a sort of sub-story to this. A lot of my mates went to Oxford or Cambridge to do...
Mates?
You know, I had lots of mates.
You didn't have lots of
No,
mates.
in the sixth form at the King's School, Chester.
You said that they were all dross in your school. And you were the top boy.
And do you know what? They went to...
if you were the top and you only managed to get to, Nottingham Poly or whatever it was, University of the Trent.
University of the Trent, yeah.
Then why would the dross go to Oxford and Cambridge?
Well, what they used to do is, believe it or not, they came across this trick where you could apply for a course in... What's a religion called? In
Theology.
Theology, right. Now, this is right. So the guy goes to Cambridge, he applies for theology.
Uh-huh.
So the only guy who's applied for it, he gets an offer of 2 E's. He gets in there.
Right.
After one term of doing theology, he makes an application to transfer to law.
Right.
He gets in.
Really?
And he comes out with a Cambridge law degree.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway.
That shocks me.
Anyway.
I don't believe a word of it.
Anyway, the reason we're playing that song, right, Jesus Christ Superstar, is, you know the word, you Judas?
Eh?
You know the word you Judas?
You Judas?
Yeah. Now, what does that mean?
Huh?
What does a Judas mean?
Well, a Judas generally means a traitor, doesn't
That's
it?
right, yeah. And why is that?
Because Judas was the guy who gave Jesus Christ away.
What was his full name?
What? Judas Iscariot.
That's him, you're right. He's one of the 12 apostles.
Don't quiz me on religion. I went to catechism class at Catholic school.
Oh, did you?
You'll never beat me on religion.
Right, okay. Anyway, the point of the story is...
What is the point of the story?
Judas Iscariot was said to be the traitor who betrayed Jesus.
Yes.
And when I asked to identify Judas...
In the Garden of?
Eden.
No,
Gethsemane.
That would be the trick if it was in the Garden of Eden. Gethsemane's correct.
Gethsemane, thank you. So he was asked to identify Jesus by the Romans, wasn't he? So he went up and he kissed him on the cheek.
That's
and
right.
he got 30 pieces of silver,
He
right?
did, yeah.
Now
Which is also still in common parlance, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, what did you get for your 30 pieces of silver?
That's right, yeah, exactly. Now then...
A bit like when you do Clash of the Titans.
Yes, that's right, yeah, absolutely. Now, a guy who's big into theological research is the Bishop of Leeds.
Well, I suppose he would be.
Yeah. His name is Nick Baines.
Baines?
Nick Baines,
Wasn't he the guy in the O'Neidin line? Baines.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he
it?
was the big sort of dopey guy that was the sort of the captain's sort of enforcer.
Oh, was
remember
he?
Baines?
Yeah, I don't remember the O'Neidin
You
line.
must remember the O'Neidin line.
Yeah, I do, yeah, but I don't remember Baines.
No, but Baines, he always
Anyway,
wore that
let me
big
get on
blue
with-
jacket. No, I want to talk to you about the O'Neidin line.
No, I don't want to talk to you about Judas Iscariot. So what happened is, he's researched it. He says, actually, Judas Iscariot has had bad press for the last 2,000 years. Seriously.
So this is what's wrong with the church these days.
He said he wasn't a traitor.
So now you've got a bishop standing up for Judas.
Yes, that's right.
Is he having a laugh?
No, he said he wasn't a traitor. He says Judas may have felt let down after Jesus failed to provoke the ultimate uprising against Roman rule, which people thought he was going to undertake. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
They thought the people over there thought that Jesus was actually the sort of Palestinian equivalent of Boadicea.
Yeah.
You know, rise up against the Romans.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Right.
And when he didn't...
That's why they didn't like the idea of him building a following up and decided to crucify him. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Judas Iscariot thought that, maybe Jesus wasn't doing the job he was put on earth to do, and therefore...
Also, they didn't necessarily believe he was the son of God, did they?
I think most of them did. But anyway...
Romans, they called him King of the Jews, didn't they?
Anyway, this... who's saying this?
The bishop, you said?
Yeah.
Bishop of somewhere?
Bishop? Did I say the bishop?
You said the bishop of some... Baines. Let's call him Baines.
Yeah, Reverend Nick Baines.
Yeah. You said he was the bishop of somewhere.
I didn't know you could be a bishop and a reverend at the same time.
Well, I think that you become a reverend and then a bishop, so maybe you keep the title.
The Bishop of Leeds, the Reverend Nick Baines, right.
I think it's a bit like the Right Honourable kind of thing, you know?
Eh?
It's a bit like the Right Honourable sort of scenario.
That's right. But anyway, there's another researcher, and it's a lady called the Reverend Kate Botley. Right?
Bockley?
Botley. Botley,
right.
yeah, Kate Botley.
Okay.
And she works on... what does she work on? She works on Gogglebox, actually, as a researcher in religious affairs. Yeah.
Well, she works for a TV company.
Yeah.
But she's a reverend.
Yeah, she is a reverend, yeah. Well,
Is she attached to, like, a church or something? She must be surely a reverend.
Well, she's a qualified rev, and now she's gone into research. You know, just like a gardener would go into television or something like that.
No, it's not like a gardener
It
at
is.
all.
It is. Anyway,
if
look,
you're a reverend, you're supposed to have a religious calling. You're not supposed to go work for Channel 4.
Well, lots of people sort of do both, don't they?
No.
You know, if you do songs of praise and you present that, it's the same thing. Anyway,
they don't have reverends presenting songs of praise.
Anyway, she said, excuse me, in my ecclesiastical journal, she said, Judas should be seen not purely as a traitor, but as a tragic figure.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, let's have some sympathy for Judas.
Yeah, that's right,
This is typical of where we are now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's give him an iPad and send him on a holiday.
We should all be saying, oh, Judas, he's all right, really. What we're saying, perhaps, is that there's something else to this character than just the kiss and the betrayal. I don't think that any of the disciples were whiter than white because they were all human and we're all a bit messed up in the head. What Judas did is not okay, but I think he holds up very important mirror to our own human condition.
What a load of old baloney.
Here, she goes on to say...
Absolute rubbish.
Hang on, no, come on. Where's the milk of human kindness in you?
No,
this
that's
is Christianity.
Rubbish. No, that is absolute and utter cobblers. And that actually should annoy you as much as it annoys me, because it's all about this kind of, nobody's really done anything wrong in society.
Hang on. She goes on to conclude, Jesus forgave people as they were putting the nails into his hands.
Yeah, well, that's easy for him to do. He could come back from the dead.
And there is no reason why he would not have forgiven Judas. Okay?
Yeah, but as I said,
so
he
what we're
wasn't
saying
worried about
here
dying,
is,
was he?
What we're saying here is, Jesus would have forgiven Judas. No, Jesus would have forgiven Judas. Therefore, should not we forgive Judas?
No, we shouldn't.
Perhaps
Absolute rubbish.
Judas Iscariot was not the ultimate traitor.
Why are you talking like that?
Because
you to Padre Parry.
No, but this is a landmark moment in the development of Christianity.
It's a load of Bolloxio, as you would say.
No, it's
well,
a
how about
landmark
the story I wanted to tell you about, which I'll tell you about coming up next.
Yes.
The guy breaks into a car outside these studios.
Oh, it's disgraceful.
Yeah, you don't want to forgive him, do you?
Well, I don't.
This week's Porky quiz is going to be on Fleet Street.
It is.
Which I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
So I will pass that on to the independent quiz masters. Even though they haven't got as much time as they normally have to prepare the questions.
No.
They'll have to work double quick.
Actually, we haven't taken the mickey out of our favourite newspaper too much tonight, so we better do a bit of that before the show ends.
Well, we'll have to do a bit of that. And also, I'm going to give you a sort of a broken down version of how the budget will affect you. I know that you don't want to talk about the budget too much.
Don't talk about the budget.
But I've got some great information for you here because I can put it into simple language so that you'll understand.
My view is that I now approach my economic affairs to benefit me and not the rest of the country.
Well, that doesn't surprise anybody.
Because
you're a selfish person.
No, I'm not selfish. It's just that...
You're self-centred.
No.
You're focused only on you. And if something isn't about you, you're not interested.
Politicians waste too much money. They waste hundreds of millions of pounds. They waste hundreds of billions of pounds. The last person I'd ever give money to is a politician. I swear to you. They are the most incompetent bunch of managers in any form of business in the history of the world.
I don't disagree with you on that. Thank you. But I'll be able to sort you out as to what you should do. Now, you were talking about the milk of human kindness, turning the other cheek and all that cobblers, right?
Yes.
But before I tell you about what happened out here last night, Baggy Neil says this: Baines was in the Oneidin line. He was that dopey old devil with a grey beard. Now, who does that remind me of? You don't remember Baines? I don't know why I remember him.
No, I don't remember Baines, actually.
Anyway, so last night, around about the 4 o'clock hour, shortly after you left, actually, shortly after your stint finished.
Left, but coming back.
Well, you were
to
going
do the breakfast show with
you went
Brazil.
off to get something.
Yes.
I don't know, breakfast or something.
Yes.
Our executive producer's car was broken into.
Yes.
In the street.
Yes.
Right? Somebody presumably took a stone or a brick, smashed the side
window. I
window.
went out to see, and it was disgraceful. You know when you've got the telltale pool of glass lying on the floor on the road.
Yeah.
It was there.
It's not really
a
pool,
terrible.
is it?
Well, it's what do you call it?
Several shards.
Not even shards. I'd call it like I would describe it as a salt and pepper mound of glass.
Would you?
Yes,
Would you?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I don't think the police would call it that. Anyway, all they got was a bag, which he'd left on the back seat, with a couple of old pairs of socks in it.
That's not,
and it makes you wonder what is wrong with people. I
well,
mean,
the
sure
guy was probably off his head on drugs.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But amazingly, your car was parked just next to it.
It was.
You didn't break into your car.
No, my car's a much more expensive
and
car.
my car was parked just behind it.
Yeah.
You didn't break into that either.
And yours is a 4x4 car, so that's quite a substantial car.
Yeah.
And for some unknown reason, they picked on the car in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a shocking thing because it's very close to the entrance to TalkSport Towers.
Yeah.
And not only that, we are in a nice part of town.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a nice part of town, actually. I mean, if you walk around here after midnight, it's not the most salubrious place to be.
It's quite close to Waterloo Station.
Yeah.
And roads around stations are not normally, speaking, of the highest quality and calibre,
and it's
are
quite
they?
a dark street as well.
It is a dark
street.
street.
I remember Ian Collins telling a story once of a guy getting mugged, I think, just under the bridge down the road there, or somebody stealing something. I mean, there's been a few incidents of crime.
I'll tell you something, there's a bloke who works for our organisation, a man who has his hands on the levers of power, right?
Yeah.
And he once got his phone mugged off him just 100 yards from the entrance to TalkSport
Is that
Towers.
right?
Yeah. He was quite, actually, to give him his due, he was quite cute on that occasion. He was overwhelmed by the numbers of two or three of them, and only himself.
Yeah.
And he did a deal and said, OK, I tell you what, I'll make your life easy, you make my life easy.
Yeah.
You can have my phone, give me the chip out the middle. And they gave him a chip and they ran off with the phone.
Oh, that's quite clever.
So it was quite clever, I thought, because then you just got to go and buy a new phone, haven't you?
Do you mean the little card?
What do you call it? The SIM card?
The SIM card.
The SIM card, that's right, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, that's all very well, but you've still normally got a lot of things stored
yeah, but
on the
it's
actual
terrible.
phone.
I mean, any crime is a shocking crime.
Any crime always makes anyone into the least liberal person, no matter how liberal they may be.
Yeah.
As soon as they become a victim of crime, they become
But
about as right-wing as you can be.
Quite apart from anything else, it's the inconvenience of having to go and repair the window in your car. But
he had to spend all day
exactly.
sorting that out, talking to the police, filling out forms, and, his day was taken up with all of that.
But what right does any human being have to go around smashing up the property that belongs to somebody else?
None whatsoever.
I agree.
But what I'm saying, and what I was saying to you earlier about the Reverend, whatever her name is, who's now working as a TV pundit, it would seem.
Yes.
Her attitude is what's wrong with what's going on out there, because everybody's got a reason for what they do. This poor guy who broke into Dave's car probably has a terrible upbringing.
But he's an out-and-out criminal and a villain.
No, but
Judas Iscariot was misunderstood, we think.
No, but they would say this guy's misunderstood. He's only robbing cars because he can't get a job.
No.
Or because he's become addicted to some drug or alcohol. Or because, he's had a bad upbringing. No. Or because he hasn't had a good education. Or because it's Margaret Thatcher's fault. It'd be something like that. Yes. Some nonsense. Yes. Some BS that I'm afraid I can't go
Somebody will
with.
come in and be an apologist for him. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
You don't like apologists on this show?
No, sorry.
Push off.
What happened to turn the other cheek? That was a short run thing.
Well, no. I am, I'm interested in Judas Iscariot because, of course, I'm interested in history.
You would be on the side of Judas Iscariot because you're a bit of a Judas yourself, aren't you?
Oh, that's very nice.
You've turned betrayal on lots of people, haven't you?
I don't know where this is coming from.
I think that's very true. Now, coming up in the next hour, Porky Vision and lots more.
Tonight from 7, Europa League football on Talk Sport.
Brilliant goal! Join Mark Saggers for a kick-off Europa League special. Teams across Europe battle it out to secure their place in the quarter-finals. Hear extended updates of Spurs' second leg clash with Borussia Dortmund.
And he scored again!
And Manchester United's showdown with Liverpool.
What a strike!
With a post-match phone-in on the sports bar from 10.
They are completely in control of this game.
Europa League football, live on Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Now, here's my guidance for you on the budget, right? Because I've got a very good breakdown here in one of our national newspapers. Not the New Day.
Right.
I didn't want to go with them because I'm not sure how good their analysis would be.
Right.
But it says here for a single pensioner 65 plus, which I guess is what you fall into, right?
No.
For the first 10,000, as I explained to you the other day, zero taxes paid.
Right.
For the second 20, if you make 20,000, you're £68 better off.
Yeah.
If you've got 30,000, you're £68 better off.
Brilliant.
That stays the same until you've got 50,000.
Yeah.
Then you're £136 better off.
Yeah. What's all this relevant to?
Well, I'm just telling you how you sit in the personal pension scenario, personal sort of budgetary scenario.
When I become a pensioner, I'll let you know, and thank you very much for that information.
Okay, well, the only other category...
Which is of no interest to me whatsoever.
The only other category I can put you in is single, no children. Would that be all right?
No, thank you.
Well, you're single with no children.
Listen, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to be categorised like that, okay?
Well, you can only be... Right, well, take your pick then, right? Married pensioner 70 plus.
No.
No. Married couple, both working, 2 children.
No.
Couple, both working, 2 children.
No.
Single person, 1 child.
No.
Self-employed couple, 2 children.
No.
So you are single, no children.
No, I'm not. I'm.
Are you single?
No, I am me.
Are you single? Well, I'm sorry, they don't have a category for me.
Yeah, no, sorry. I am single independent. That's why I
well, the closest to single independent, more than £80,000 pounds, which I presume is about right.
Yeah.
You're £160 better off.
Oh, really? Oh, that's brilliant. I'm so glad. With that £160, I'll go out and buy, a couple of hamburgers or something like that.
Now, the good news for me is a similar situation.
There's not much good news for you, pal, in your state.
I'm £320 better off.
Oh, what are you going to do with that? Buy 4 bottles of champagne?
I'm twice as better off than you.
Yeah, really? Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll take you out for lunch.
Oh, yeah, take me out for lunch.
What about that?
Perhaps you can buy lunch at Cheltenham.
We won't have to buy lunch at Cheltenham. We'll be in the box.
Oh, really? Oh, you're going to be freeloading, are you?
Well, no, last time we went, there were a load of pies, I seem to remember.
Oh, really? That's what you're going to do. Now, I want to play you...
Do you not remember the last time we went?
Yes, of course I do.
They had a load of pies.
Yes, I remember.
I remember we had some pies for lunch.
I remember. I tried to nick a bottle off Paddy Power, but he said I couldn't have it because they needed it the following day.
Yeah.
It's a very decorative bottle. It was a candle in.
Well, do you know what I forgot to do? I meant to take it for my kids. There was a little goodie bag.
Yes.
Which I put on the table.
Yes.
And then you distracted me somehow. And then when we left, I didn't take it with me. No. So remind me tomorrow to take a goodie bag.
You'd have left it on the train anyway.
And you bring one as well, because I don't give them both one.
OK, now I'm going to play you a very famous voice, OK?
Yeah, right.
Listen to this. Listen to this.
Listen to what?
That is a very famous voice, isn't it?
Listen to what?
This. Here, listen. Listen.
Where's the voice?
It's coming.
Did you edit this?
Yes. Right, listen.
Get out.
Listen, hang on.
Where's the voice?
Well, I'm trying to find the voice. Hang on. Right. Okay. Now.
Brilliant.
Okay. Now.
This is typical of you. This.
All right.
Wait, no. Well, let's listen
this
to
voice is coming. It's coming.
Where's the voice?
It's a very famous voice.
Right.
Listen. Here.
All right.
The car's knocked out. What are we going to do, Harry? I'm afraid.
No, that's not the voice.
What voice is this?
Oh, here. Listen. Shh.
Probably got a car.
Getting closer. Whose voice is that?
That was Parker.
It appears we have no choice in the matter.
This is Lady Penelope.
I was just thinking the
That's
same
Parker.
thing, milady. All right.
Parker.
I'll be happy to jiffy with the hardware.
Right, have you got it now?
Yeah, Thunderbirds.
Right, who did we listen to there?
Hey?
Who did we listen
Do you
to?
know that was? You know who that was? That was my former next door neighbour, Mr. David Graham.
Who was Parker?
Yeah, he used to do all the voices for
Yeah,
him.
but who was the other voice?
Lady Penelope.
That's right,
I
Lady
told you
Penelope.
that.
And who?
God,
who?
That was a very long-winded way of getting to Lady Penelope.
I have to say that I didn't
I
edit
don't really
it.
let you anywhere near the production of this
I
show
didn't
anymore.
edit it quite properly.
Yeah.
But anyway, listen. What are you laughing at?
Never mind.
At least I find it. Anyway, the reason I played you that is because Lady Penelope was the voice was played by Sylvia Anderson, who was Jerry Anderson's wife.
Yes.
And between them, Jerry and Sylvia Anderson produced the Thunderbirds, of course.
And Stingray.
And Stingray made it an international...
And Captain Scarlet, I think.
Captain Scarlet made it an international sensation that was loved by others... by many, including the Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger loved it.
What difference does that make?
And sort of personal audience. Well, the reason I'm telling you is
What
that...
sort of personal audience with a puppet?
Yeah, no, sort of personal audience with Sylvia Anderson.
Did he?
Who was the creator of Lady Penelope.
Did he slept with her?
And, no, I don't think he did, because she was married to Jerry Anderson.
Oh,
But
well, that would have made a big difference
I
for him.
I have to report back that, sadly, Sylvia Anderson passed away.
Oh, did she?
2 days ago, and at the age of 88, and... somebody switched on the air conditioning.
No.
Who's done that?
No.
Oh, excuse me.
It's probably somebody in charge of the production.
Yeah.
I think whoever it was should be sacked.
Anyway, Sylvia Anderson, co-creator of Thunderbirds, born on March 27th, 1927, has died after a short illness,
right?
Sadly, and she was 88.
All right.
But what a fascinating life she had. Fancy creating something like that.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, isn't it more amazing that the guy who did the voices lived next door to me when I was growing up?
That is quite amazing.
And his name was Graham.
And what David Graham?
David Graham, yeah, he was an actor, but he got friendly with my dad somehow because we used to sort of talk over the garden fence kind of thing. We used to play football. My football used to land in his garden.
Yeah.
And we ended up, becoming quite good friends with him. And he invited us round to his house one day.
Yes.
For one of these, a cocktail party or something like that.
Cocktail
in which he revealed, well, it was Hampstead, that's what he did.
Yes.
And he revealed that he was the voice, and he did all the voices.
So what was his...
He actually did them for us.
What was his normal voice?
His normal voice was very similar to mine.
Really?
Yeah. He didn't have a Scottish accent.
And what was his favourite expression? Right-o, me lady.
Right-o, me lady. Yeah, but he literally ran through all the voices that he did.
Well, how many voices did he do? I thought he did Parker.
He did about 30 or 40 of them.
What, on Thunderbirds?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What, like So the Villain, get us your money, all this kind of stuff,
He did almost all the voices.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't do Lady Penelope.
No, he didn't do her.
Oh, so did he do, like, Virgil and all that?
He did all the Tracys, yeah.
No.
He did them all. He told us all the differences between them. He did Captain Scarlet.
No, you're joking.
Amazing character.
That's amazing. Which was your favourite Thunderbird machine?
I liked Thunderbird 2.
Yeah, I quite like 2 because it could
had
take
4 underneath it,
and it could
inside,
and it could take different pods, couldn't it?
Yeah.
With all sorts of different.
And I
things
liked
in
the way it landed as well.
Yeah, I never understood Thunderbird 1 landing because rockets can't land by going backwards.
But now
downwards.
they can, of course, because
they can
now they
can
do.
now, but they couldn't.
So
now.
in many ways, they were kind of ahead of their time.
They're ahead of the time, I have to say.
And I couldn't be bothered with the one that was in space. I thought that was a waste of time.
Well, that's just spinning around the Earth.
Yeah.
But that was the forerunner to the International Space Station
was 5,
as well,
wasn't it? Was that 5?
That was Thunderbird 5. Yeah.
And Thunderbird 3 was just a cut rate 1, I always thought.
Thunderbird 3...
It was another rocket. It was just not as big as 1.
One of them was subterranean. One of them was went in the sea.
That was the one that came out of 2. That was why I liked 2, because 2 opened up, and 4... And you could have any number of different sort of... Either a dirigible... You could have a submarine inside it, or it could sometimes be a land craft.
Well, hang on. 1 was the rocket. 2 was the big green bulbous thing that had the pods. 2 was green.
2, yes.
3 was...
3 was another rocket, but just a smaller rocket than 1.
Oh, I thought I thought it was an underwater one.
No, the underwater one came out of 2.
4?
That was 4. 4 came out of 2.
Oh, I see. I see. And
5 was in space.
5 was in space.
And there was no 6.
And what were the names of all the sons?
Oh, God. Well, they were all called Tracy.
Yeah, Virgil.
I can tell you that. Alan. Alan.
Virgil.
Alan, Virgil.
Yeah, anyway.
Troy.
But
no,
anyway,
it was Troy Tempest, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a huge phenomenon. And I
went to see. I took the kids once to see Thunderbirds stage production.
Is it where they wear them on their heads?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. It was very funny.
I didn't like it.
I did. I
was expecting to see some kind of, massive stage production.
No.
And it was two guys with different Thunderbird machines on their heads.
It was an adult thing.
It was crap.
And I tell you who took me to see it, Mr. Ian Walker, our mutual friend, who's now the deputy editor of the Evening Standard.
Why did you give his name away?
Well, it doesn't matter, does it? We were working at the Express at the time, and
why did he take you to that?
Because it was round the corner in that theatre.
It was in the Aldwych.
No, this one.
I saw it.
No, I'll tell you where we saw it. It was round the corner in that theatre where the road goes down into the subterranean road along the side of the Thames. You know what I'm talking about?
What, you mean like the Mermaid Theatre?
Yeah, Mermaid Theatre.
Yeah.
And we got completely bladderated.
I was going to say, you two would never go anywhere without getting bladderated.
It was an 11 o'clock showing at night, and you go in there and you sat there, and as you quite rightly say, these guys came on and they wore a different Thunderbird machine on their head. And
it was rubbish.
And so they imitated like Thunderbird 2 by putting their arms out and going, dum da dum, dum.
It was absolute
dum da dum. I thought it was very funny, but anyway.
Now have a look at your screen.
Right.
You see the time on it.
It's it says nearly 3:15.
Yeah.
It's 14 minutes past actually.
Yeah. Well
Excellent.
done. Thank you.
Right.
This is Talk Sport.
Yes.
If you fancy a flutter on the football, a gamble on the golf, a double on the darts, or a treble on the tennis, you're in luck. Get closer to the action every weekend with Betway's Man in the Know on the Weekend Sports Breakfast with Georgie Bingham and Mickey Quinn. Bringing you all the form on the football, the going at Goodwood, the tries at Twickenham and the overs at the Oval. Every Saturday and Sunday morning from 7 on TalkSport with Betway. Bet the responsible way.
London Has Fallen is the UK's #1 action movie that everyone's talking about.
Get down!
The sight of London's landmarks exploding in flames is both impressive and unsettling, says the Daily Mirror. And Andy Lee from the Daily Star calls it explosive, with thrilling non-stop action.
Stay with me. We'll get you out of here.
It's a lot of fun, says The Sun. Gerard Butler, Aaron Eckhart and Morgan Freeman.
Oh, my God.
London Has Fallen. In cinemas now. Rated 15.
Warning. The following message contains content of a violent and sexual nature. You wouldn't expect that in a radio commercial. But you wouldn't expect it in a school either. Worldwide, an estimated 150 million girls have experienced sexual violence. Much of it happens in schools. By sponsoring a girl through Plan International, you can help ensure that school is a place where girls can build their futures in safety. Please text SAFETY to 70111 to find out how you can sponsor a girl today. Thank you. Standard text rates apply.
Repeat after me. I, Isabella Lopez, do solemnly swear.
I, Isabella Lopez, do solemnly swear.
Yes, to apply for the marriage allowance tax break.
To apply for the marriage allowance tax break.
And save up to £212 a year. If you're married or in a civil partnership and one of you earns less than £10,600 and the other pays basic rate tax, there is up to £212 of tax savings waiting for you to claim. It takes less than 10 minutes to apply at gov.uk/marriage allowance.
Still haven't signed up to TalkSport's £1 million football game? Why not? There's a million good reasons why you should. The Selco Predictor. Play to win
£1 million.
And a different prize every week.
This week, I'll predict Ginger Colossus, Adrian Durham, and you could win a signed framed picture of Wayne Rooney's legendary overhead kick.
Download the Selco Predictor app now on your smartphone and use your football acumen to win great prizes. The Selco Predictor. Sign up for free now at talksport.com/predictor.
Sunday afternoon from 1:30. Exclusive national radio commentary of the Tyne-Wear Derby. Newcastle versus Sunderland. Barclays Premier League live on Talk Sport.
As part of our official charity partnership with Prostate Cancer UK, we are asking our listeners to dig deep and support Jeff Stelling, who is embarking on the Men United March next week.
That's right. Jeff will be walking 10 marathons in 10 days. Wowee. That's 260 miles and 240 hours. In that time, 240 men will have died, sadly, from prostate cancer.
Yeah, within the next 10 years, Prostate Cancer UK believes they will find the answers to make this disease something men and their loved ones no longer fear. But to do this, they need to raise vital funds.
So please, please go to menunitedmarch.org and sponsor Jeff right now.
You know, isn't that what old Eddie Izzard's doing more of that, isn't he, for comic relief, I think?
He's doing some incredible
thing. 26 marathons.
I think he's doing 27 in 27 days.
Down in South Africa.
Yeah, now
where it's really hot.
Yeah, exactly. I worked this out, right? A marathon is 26 miles and a bit, isn't it?
It is a bit, yeah.
Now, Eddie Izzard is doing 27 marathons in 26 days. Now, if you multiply that, 0 down, 2 6s are 12 and 1, 2 2s are 4 5. Hang on, that's 520.
Why just use a calculator?
Hang on. 7 6s are 42. 7 2s are 14 and 4's 18. That's 2, 8 and 2's 10. Hang on. 5 and 6, 7. So he's doing 702 miles, right?
Yeah, well, why don't you just look it up on the calculator?
No, but listen, I'm going to tell you what this is. 702 miles is the distance...
What are you saying, that's 27 times 27?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
27 times 26, actually. And what I'm saying is... Excuse me. Somebody switch the air conditioner on. Can we switch it off? Please, it's getting to the back of my throat.
Well, I mean, all right. Well,
I need warmth. I don't need the cold. I'm
sick of kowtowing to your, needs, OK?
Yeah. Now, hang on.
I'm not going to do anything.
What I'm saying is 702 miles. Now, do you realise that is the distance from... That is the distance from... I'm trying to think. It's the distance...
John O'Groats to Land's End?
Well, it's not. That's about 900 miles, isn't it? It's simply the distance. If you walked from Liverpool to London and back, and then back to London, and then back to Birmingham, that would be 702 miles. What are you laughing at?
Well, I can't come up with just one distance.
Well, because I couldn't think of one. But I mean, what I'm saying is,
let's see, Liverpool to London, right?
Yeah, but you could run that. Yeah.
What do you mean you could run it?
Yeah, well, he's running it.
How far do you think it's from Liverpool to London?
Liverpool to London, it's 200 miles.
It says here it is. Wait for it. 212 miles.
There you go.
So 3 times that
is 636 miles. Plus,
so you've got to go another 40 odd.
Yeah, that's right. So you'd go on then to Brighton, couldn't you, on your return trip? Yeah, and then that would be it. So that is amazing.
So you go 3 times. Well, actually, you couldn't do that unless you started in Liverpool.
Yeah, start in Liverpool and you go to London, then you go back to Liverpool, then you go back to London, and then down to Brighton. Yeah, and that's 700 miles. That's amazing. Okay. Absolutely amazing.
So it's like running that distance.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's in a month. You'd have a month to do it, though.
Yeah, but I mean, nevertheless, that is quite something.
Now, let me read you a few tweets here.
Okay.
One from Matt, who says, does Porky not realise that that £160 he just scoffed at is the major difference week to week for some people? Hashtag man of the people, my backside.
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it? Yeah. Right. It says here from Marty, every time old Porky coughs his lungs up, it's hilarious.
You've now got me coughing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're happy now?
Yeah, he
After
says,
coming in here for 3 days, you've now got me coughing.
Yeah, it says, every time old Porky coughs up his lungs, it's hilarious. I don't think it's hilarious, it's very painful. But if you hadn't turned the blinking heating down, then, I'm sorry, I wouldn't have got trapped in this vicious cycle of cold infecting my vocal cords.
Now, Richard says there was a Thunderbirds 6 in the film. It was a biplane. Was there a film?
I don't know. I never saw it. Right, Phil here says, well done, MG, for getting in touch with the famous Dr. Nicholas Banner. Can't wait to hear the truth about old Porky's heart.
I've already read that one out.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Sean says, great editing skills, Porky. Mick Jagger gerrymandering with Jerry Anderson's wife.
Yes, well, that was a bit of a cobble up. I'm still waiting, by the way, to find out whether Everton's semi-final is going to be on Saturday or Sunday of the weekend of.
Why is the FA so useless at this? Because, I mean, there must be loads of people who need to know whether they need to take one day off or another day off. Because, if the semi-final's on a Saturday, they need to make plans. If it's on a Sunday, it's going to be much more difficult, presumably, to get transport, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this is
so, I mean, if you need to, say, charter a coach or...
No, it's true.
Like that.
It's true. It's true. We need to know as soon as possible. And the thing is, you and I were due at Crystal Palace that weekend for the Everton Palace game.
I presume that's cancelled now.
Well, it's got to be cancelled.
Because that was a Saturday, 3 o'clock, wasn't it?
That was Saturday, 3 o'clock, yeah.
Hey, talking of... I don't know if you saw this tweet that I sent out earlier on today. I had to go out this afternoon for a meeting, right?
Right.
And... I was on the bus.
Oh, a meeting?
A meeting, yeah.
Yeah, I saw a few people say you posted you going out for a meeting.
I was in this building.
bladderation trail around Borough Market.
No, I was in this building,
You were spotted on the bladderation trail around Borough Market.
Not true.
Did you go for a drink after this meeting?
I did, actually,
Oh, you
yeah.
did? Oh, where was that then?
Just down the road.
Oh, Borough Market?
No,
Yeah,
it was in the cut, actually.
Yeah, was it?
You see, you can't even get your facts right.
Okay,
I mean, when I follow you around and I get people tweeting, I get pictures.
Mhm.
I get pictures of you hailing a cab.
Yes.
I get a cab driver ringing in saying he'd never seen anybody in such a terrible state. I
Yes.
get people on the train you were on saying, he's just now started singing When I'm 64.
Yeah.
True facts.
Yeah.
That's the difference between you and I.
Yeah.
You just make it up.
I don't make anything up. I mean,
You want to check the log downstairs to see when I was here?
Why? Why would you be in the log?
Because I signed in, because I came for a meeting.
Why would you sign in? Why don't you just come in? You've got a pass to get through the door.
Because if I'm coming here I don't work here. I come in here and use the facilities. I'm not employed here.
Yeah.
I don't just run around the place like I own it.
Oh, really?
So if I'm coming to meet somebody here, I wait at the reception for them.
Well, I just assume that, I'm welcome any times. I never sign the log when I come in.
That's where you're wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm on the bus, right?
Right.
And because I have to get a bus to the tube.
Yes.
And it's a small bus, a
Right.
single-decker. We pull up outside which will have a youth hostel stroke arrangement, and there's a school by. And this woman gets on, with a couple of kids behind her, and says to the driver, have you got room for 30? And I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
30 kids.
Yeah, so
and
it's a whole class.
4 teachers all get on the bus.
God.
Which, of course, I mean, as usual, I was running slightly late.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, I'm not going to get, I'm not going to get there on time. If this, because normally, the bus stops, one person gets on, the doors close, they go on.
Indeed.
30 kids.
And did they all get on?
With suitcases, right?
No.
And 4 teachers with bags.
Really?
All get on the bus.
Where were they going?
I don't know. I got off before they did.
Well, where did the bus go?
Well, I had the feeling that maybe they were staying at the youth hostel and maybe they were on a school trip.
See. Well, how
And
old
so
are these
maybe
kids?
They were around about 8 or 9.
Well, they don't go to youth hostels at 8 or 9.
They weren't very old.
They honestly, you don't. You go to, I don't know where you go, but you don't go to youth hostels.
Well,
I'll tell you that
I don't think
for
they were,
sure.
They could have been from the local school,
Yeah,
but if they
local
were from
school,
the local school, they should have been at a different bus stop.
Could have been.
But I mean, I thought to myself, well, what, for example, would they have done?
Yes.
If a bus driver had said, "No, I'm sorry, we've only got room for 10."
Well, they'd have to wait for the next bus, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, but would 10 of them have got on?
Well, with one teacher. If they had 4 teachers,
Yeah.
of course they
But
would have
isn't that
done.
a bad thing? Why don't you just
No.
hire a coach?
Well, I don't know. Perhaps it was short notice or something like that. How can I tell? And I don't know why you're boring us to death with this
Why have
story.
you got-
Anyway,
Well, because these are things that happen in real life to
Oh, excuse
people.
me.
You still haven't managed to fill out a day for me when I've asked you, what do you do for your day? I mean, how did you spend your day yesterday?
I spent my day trying to get rid of my pseudo-pneumonia.
And how did you do that?
By wrapping myself up in warm clothes and staying indoors.
Really?
For the day.
In bed?
No, because if I lie down, my lungs get full of
So what, you just sat in
fluids.
a chair all day?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Did you eat anything?
Not much. In fact, all day, I had a total of... My dietary intake all day was 4 oranges.
Have you never heard the phrase, feed a cold and starve a fever?
No.
Well, you should have, because that's a very,
fluids,
very good
hot
advice.
fluids. I drank a lot of hot fluids.
What sort of fluids?
Tea and coffee.
Yeah.
And I had
no
oranges.
alcohol.
No alcohol, no. I haven't had any alcohol for
Well, you do know
4 days.
if you drink hot things like tea, that they're actually diuretic, and you might find yourself actually becoming dehydrated.
Yeah, but I looked up the rules, and the rules say you must keep drinking hot fluids.
What rules?
Well, the rules of how to get rid of pseudo-pneumonia.
And who writes those rules?
Well, doctors and medical people.
Dr. Banner?
You should take notice of. Yeah, I suppose Dr. Banner
So
as
you
well.
sat in a chair all day,
Yes.
drinking hot fluids,
Yes.
watching television?
Well, looking at my journals, which I can read in my upright chair, because it does my back okay.
You've got an upright chair?
Yeah, I've got an upright chair.
What other kind of chair have you got?
A lounge chair, a reclining chair.
Well, aren't they upright chairs?
Well, they're not. They don't support your back as well. A couch doesn't support your back as well as an upright chair. And
Do you mean like a dining chair?
No, I mean an upright chair, like
It's an upright chair.
It's got a very straight back
And would you
with
describe
wings.
what you're sitting in now as an upright chair?
No, this is an office chair. I'm talking about a chair with wings on the side. The sort of thing that Henry VIII might have sat in. You know what I mean? Sorry, what do you find amusing about that?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about.
You
half
still
the time,
can't answer the question, can you?
What question?
What you spend all your day doing?
I've just told you.
I don't believe you.
I was trying to get rid of my.
So you sat in a chair for approximately 24 hours.
I've got an infection bordering on pneumonia, and I had to do my very best by sitting upright. If I lie down, it floods my lungs and I could drown. and be, injuriously prevailed
If you
upon.
had pneumonia, you wouldn't be here for a start.
Well, I've had something very close to that. Believe me, it has not been pleasant.
You're such an old woman.
No,
I mean, you're feeling sorry for yourself, painting yourself as a victim. All you've got is a cold. You should man up and stop.
It's much more than a
trying
cold.
to make everybody feel
It's much
sorry
more
for
than a cold.
yourself. Anyway, coming up next, it's time for Porky Vision.
Talk Radio is coming.
The UK radio universe is expanding. Now you can hear supermassive speech radio from the master architects behind the world-beating Talk Sport.
It's a new frontier in broadcasting as Talk Radio boldly goes where no other radio station has gone before, with a stellar lineup of outstanding on-air talent and all-killer, zero-filler content.
Talk Radio, a big bang in broadcasting.
Across the UK, online and on DAB. You're going to love
Talk Radio.
Starts Monday morning from 6.
We'll get you talking.
As your TV reviewer, I can reveal there are no plans for a new series.
Yeah, no, but wasn't there a previous series?
Oh, hang on, wait a minute. It says here there might be a new series. What's your problem?
It is that time of the week, of course, and weeks are flying in. I don't know where the time is going, but it is time for Porky Vision, one of the greatest TV reviews that anybody's ever heard. It's been on very good form lately, I'd have to say.
Fantastic.
People have been very complimentary about it.
I agree.
So what do you got for us this week?
Well, I tell you what, I think it's the first ever case on TV of what I describe as not just Rogerisation, but buttock bouncing Rogerisation.
Buttock bouncing?
Buttock bouncing Rogerisation. Do you not see it?
You're talking about the night manager?
I'm talking about the night manager, Tom Hiddleston.
I bet it was his buttocks.
It was his buttocks that were bouncing.
I'm not interested in his buttocks.
Well, I'm not interested in his buttocks either, to be honest. That's not of my persuasion. But nevertheless, it was erotica persona.
I suppose so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you like that sort of thing.
And his buttocks...
Problem is that it's not, it's not really suitable for kids, is it?
It's not suitable for kids.
And I was watching it on Sunday night, and one of my kids came downstairs right in the middle of that.
Not good.
So I had to put it off.
Because, the young lady that he was attending to had her leg wrapped around the top of his buttock, sort of area. Derriere area.
Yeah. Who is that actress, by the way?
Well, no, she's
who
very
plays
pretty.
Roper's girlfriend?
How should I know? Well, she's very
you're
pretty.
the TV reviewer.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's an actor, isn't she?
See, some people think she is. Others have said that they don't really see the attraction, that she's not that. I mean, I think she's quite pretty.
I think she's good. Now, Hugh Laurie is a magnificent actor. I mean, the way that man brings the sense of menace to the role without actually
without any
being
kind of
thuggish or anything like that. You know what I mean?
And the little guy's cracking up, isn't he?
Well, the little guy is... he's played by Tom Hollander.
That's him, yeah.
Right, Tom Hollander. And the reason he's cracking up is because Tom Hiddleston, the buttock bouncer, has become a better favourite of Roper, the chief.
Yeah, he's wormed his way in.
He's wormed his way in, and Tom, what's his name? Tom Hollander, the midget.
See,
he's only 5'1".
They're both called Tom.
Both called Tom.
Second names both begin with H.
One's Hiddleston and one's Hollander. This Tom Hollander. Now, Tom Hollander, the midget guy, he gets completely bladderated in a very expensive restaurant in Mallorca, and starts taking, real exception to the waiters. Yeah. The rudest thing in life you can do is to be rude to waiters in restaurants and all that.
Very, very bad form.
Very bad form. And he mocks them, derides them, pours
Unless, of
wine
course, they're
over them.
rude to you first.
No, they're not. He's just fed up that he's...
Well, he was behaving in a very boorish way.
Yeah, he's slipping down the old popularity ranks, OK?
But don't you think Roper needs him, though? Isn't that the point?
Well, I'm not sure if Roper needs him. What is discovered, because they nick a load of documents, is that the sort of deals Roper is doing are making him $300 million a time.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about vast amounts of money here.
It's unlikely to be something other than arms, really, isn't it?
It's his arms.
No, I know that. But
because he opened a box and brought out a gun.
Yes. No, I know, we know that, but the point is that he's pretending it's not.
But what is brilliant...
He doesn't declare that he's buying and selling arms, is what I'm saying.
Oh, no, agricultural equipment.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, what is brilliant is that Tom Hiddleston is going to be the next James Bond, people think. A lot of people think. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, without shadow of a doubt. You heard it here first.
I thought it was Idris Elba.
No. It's going to be Tom Hiddleston.
Really?
Yeah. Who plays Price. No, not Price. He's got several names.
Well, they give him a new name now, haven't they? Andrew something.
No, what's it called?
They've changed his name.
Pine.
They've changed his name.
Yeah, they've changed his name, but he was Pine.
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 Shouting it.
Yeah. Now then, the interesting thing is that Pine has blown his cover by indulging in the buttock-bouncing Rogerisation process.
Well, because does she not suspect there's something wrong about where he's come from or something?
Well, what's happened is...
You don't want to give it too much away.
A phone call's been intercepted, you see.
Oh, really?
And, so he's been told now, Pine was then told, pull out by Olivia Colman.
Oh, yes.
Who is the connection back at MI6.
The woman from Dorset.
Did you know that they call
Except
MI6...
that she's not in MI6.
Hang on. She's in another agency. But they call MI6 the River Club.
The River House.
The River House, because it's based on the edge of the river, right?
Yeah.
Now then.
Do you think that's real? Do you think that's what they really call it?
Maybe, I don't know, who knows?
Well, do you know, I went to our mutual friend Stephen Gray's book signing.
Yes.
Which is across the road in that pub. I don't know if you know
That's right, yeah, I do.
They've got a room upstairs where we did the book signing called the Spy Room.
The Spy Room, that's right.
And every window you look out, you can see MI6.
Yeah, I know, yeah, it's amazing. Now then, the point is...
We should go there one day.
Yeah, we should indeed. So that's buttock bouncing. Now, I can link this directly to another show that started called Dr. Thorne.
Dr. Thorne?
Because the midget guy you're talking about, Tom Hollander...
He's not in that as well.
He is Dr. Thorne.
Is he?
Yes, he is Dr. Thorne.
Why are there so many shows about doctors?
Well, I don't know.
Because we had was it Dr. Foster?
Dr. Foster, yeah, that's right. But this is based in the sort of Dickensian period.
Oh, right.
Now, this show, Dr. Thorne, starts great because you know that gnarled old guy who used to be very handsome in that antique show, but is now a gnarled old, 72-year-old.
Well, why wouldn't he do the antique show then?
What was it? No, the
Antiques Roadshow?
No. The one about... it's a fictional thing,
fictional antique show.
Fictional antique show. The antique dealer had fiction.
Steptoe son.
No, you idiot. What's this guy called? He got black hair, very handsome man.
Black hair.
Yeah, but
Ian someone.
Ian. That's
Ian
him.
someone.
Ian someone.
Ian McShane.
Ian McShane. Lovejoy. You're absolutely right.
I once was accused of looking like him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
I came out... What do you mean?
Must have been somebody who was drunk. Anyway.
I was walking out Canary Wharf Tower one day.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess I must have had very long hair or something.
Yeah.
And I think I'd just come back from holiday.
Yeah,
so I looked a bit sort of like a tan. Yeah. You're so bored by any story I tell you these days.
Rubbish. Well, you're
anyway, these paparazzi guys outside.
Oh, yeah.
And they thought I was Ian McShane.
Yeah, it'd be ridiculous. Anyway, so this starts off well because...
So who's in it?
Ian McShane.
And who else?
Well, this guy I've just told you about, Tom Hollander, is Dr. Thorne.
Okay.
But it starts off well, because Ian McShane goes running down this street.
Has he got long hair in it?
Yeah, he's got long hair, yeah.
So long-haired Victorian?
Yes. No, it's Dickensian.
Dickensian.
Right. And he runs down this street, and he shouts to this bloke who's a toff with a big top hat, "Hey, you!" And the guy turns around and says, "What do you want, you mucky little man?" So Ian McShane wallops him, knocks him over, smashes his head on...
Even though he's old and gnarled and 72.
Yeah. Smashes his head on a statue and kills him. So it's off to a great start. That's a great bit of action. Then...
What's that got to do with being a doctor?
Don't know, because then it goes to a different scene altogether, which are the grounds of a stately home. Now, you won't be surprised to know this is written by Julian Fellows, who wrote Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
So you go to almost like a Downton Abbey scene where all the ladies are in the field, all with parasols, talking about a marriage that's coming up. Parasols, like umbrellas.
Parasols,
like umbrellas.
Yeah.
And it's rubbish. It's not worth watching.
Okay.
Total trash, okay?
Right.
So
that's unusual for him, because Julian Fellows is normally pretty good writer.
Too long-winded.
Is it?
Rubbishy.
Okay.
Too long-winded and rubbishy.
All right, what else have you liked?
Right. Now, Happy Valley's just finished.
Yes.
Sensational.
Really?
Sensational.
Now, I haven't watched that at all. So don't tell me what happens.
Well, I don't need to. Everybody knows, because the last episode's happened.
Well, I don't know.
Sarah Lancashire eventually...
Sarah Lancaster.
Lancashire. As in the county, okay? Lancashire.
Yeah.
As in Yorkshire, but Lancashire,
yeah,
you know?
Okay.
And what she does is...
Her medication starting to wear off.
What? No. She works out that one of her colleagues is a killer.
Right.
And he's actually killed a woman.
This is the guy who had the affair, right?
This is the guy who had the affair.
He's a policeman.
Yeah. And who played the butler in Downton Abbey.
Oh, right.
The butler turned teacher.
Oh, that one.
You know, the butler turned teacher, yeah.
Not the other butler who was accused of killing.
Yeah, but I think there's a bit of a flaw in the whole plot, because in the end he decides to kill himself because he knows the game
tell us
is up.
that.
No. And what he does is... No.
I've not seen any of it.
Well, don't...
Well, now I'm not going to watch it.
Well, that's your fault.
But now I'm not going to watch it.
Because what he does is he jumps backwards off a railway bridge.
Why backwards?
Well, I don't know. I suppose he didn't want to watch himself jumping off or something. And a complete failure because he lands on a car.
Why didn't he just shut his eyes?
Well, I don't know. He lands on a car.
What, underneath a railway bridge?
Yeah.
It obviously wasn't a railway bridge then.
No, it was a... Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Well, I think...
I mean, normally under a railway bridge, you've got railway lines.
I think he was on a railway line and there was a bridge over a road, so he jumped off the railway line.
Why didn't he just tie himself to the tracks?
Well, I think that was out of consideration, because when you commit suicide by jumping in front of a train, you traumatise the train driver.
That's true.
So it's better
to jump on top of a car.
That's what he did. He went straight through the windscreen, which, a bit of a nuisance.
What about the driver?
Well, he'd not been too happy, I'm sure.
Well, that's what I mean. So it's hardly a choice, is it, of not wanting to hurt anybody else?
Anyway, my point is...
what is your point?
I would never commit suicide like that.
No?
Because...
You wouldn't need to.
Well, no, I might not die.
Just ask me to shoot you. I'd be quite happy to help you out.
My greatest fear, apart from poverty, is ending up in a wheelchair.
Is it?
Because it's very unpleasant, and I had great sympathy for people who sadly spend their lives in wheelchairs. But
many people are not sad about it.
My view is, if you throw yourself backwards off a railway bridge onto a road, you might not actually kill yourself. It might just cripple yourself and then end up in a wheelchair. So I would never do that.
Right. So what about this show then? Is it it's over and done with? They're going to do another series? I saw somewhere that they're
going to do another series, Happy Valley.
No, they're not have to do another series without the main character.
What?
Well, if he's not there anymore.
Oh, the other one is Shetland. Now, Shetland's brilliant, okay? Now, that's finished.
It's a show that's not about Shetland, right?
What?
This is a show that's not about Shetland.
It's about Glasgow. But
Why is it called Shetland, then?
Because there's a guy up there sheltering in Shetlands, and he gets discovered and killed. And they have to release the big villain in from a jail in Glasgow.
I see.
And then a trailer
Is that still going, then?
No, it's finished. Trailer murder starts.
So is that a good one to watch?
It's a great one to watch.
But it's finished?
Yeah, but I'm going to go to the Shetlands when you go on holiday this summer, because I like the scenery so much.
You might not be able to get back.
I will, don't worry.
All right, we shall see. This is TalkSport. That was Porky Vision. Another one the same coming next week. Tomorrow, the Porky Quiz on Fleet Street.
Bienvenue au weekend sports breakfast avec Michelle Quinn et Georgie Bingham.
Hey! Oh, really, Mickey?
Every Saturday and Sunday morning from 7 on Talk Sport with Renault Vans. It's the breakfast show that cooks up a souffle of sport and a pan au chocolat of pre-match build-up.
There's no need to milk it, Mickey.
The hors d'oeuvre to another big weekend feast of football. The weekend sports breakfast on Talk Sport with Renault Vans. To celebrate 18 years as Europe's #1 van manufacturer, right now it's Van Month. Ooh la la.
So what does a good teacher make?
My teacher makes me want to put my hand up as fast as I can in class.
My teacher makes me believe that I can be the best I really can.
My teacher just made me realise that not all subjects are bad.
Make a difference to thousands of lives, including your own. Tax-free bursaries are available to help you while you train. Teaching. Your future. Their future. Search Change to Teaching. Bursaries subject to eligibility.
Everyone knows that all the best things come in threes. 3 Amigos, 3 Stooges, 3 Lions. And right now, if you sign up to 888 Sport, you'll get treble odds on your first bet. Play with 888 Sport and harness the power of 3 with treble odds on your first bet. New customers only. Minimum £5 bet to qualify. Maximum £10 bet at treble odds. Bet at normal odds. Extra winnings added as a free bet within 72 hours. Free bets must be used within 7 days and are not included in any returns. See site for full terms and conditions. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
It's wheel spinning winning when we play Checkered Flag. All this week on the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast on Talk Sport with Sky Sports F1. Go wheel to wheel with another Talk Sport listener. Be the quickest to answer questions correctly and take the Checkered Flag to win Sky Sports free for a year. Plus a 48-inch Samsung Curve TV. Thanks to Sky Sports F1. Play Checkered Flag. All this week on the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast on Talk Sport with Sky Sports F1. The only place to watch the season opening 2016 Formula One Rolex Australian Grand Prix live.
Talk Sport. All supporters love to moan.
The solution is simple.
On DAB, digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Teenage Kicks.
Feel the passion.
Talk Sport.
Well, butter up that biscuit, put a hole on that spit. You know damn well Mama's coleslaw sure don't taste like she makes all the best sauce. Tangy, tart, and sweet. Barbecues on Sunday after can be beat.
This is TalkSport. Sport, we are the two mics. The show's nearly over, believe it or not.
It certainly is.
Now, a couple of interesting texts and tweets have come in.
Yes.
Mark from Bristol says, MG, you're wrong. Captain Scarlet was voiced by Francis Matthews. Oh. Well, Mark, I can tell you that this guy, David Graham, did every single voice that the Anderson couple ever put out. And he may have not always done them, perhaps, on the Captain Scarlet one.
Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. The
Mysterons.
No, they were Mystrons, they were pronounced as.
No, it was Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. We are the Mysterons. He did that voice as well. Les in Manchester says, interestingly, David Graham was on another station on Tuesday paying tribute to Sylvia Anderson.
Oh.
He's still going strong and appears at all the Thunderbirds conventions as a guest.
Is that right?
And he's going to a major Thunderbirds convention in America in 2 weeks' time as a special guest.
If you walked up to him, do you think he'd recognise you? You wouldn't, would he?
No, because you're
an adult now.
Well, I met him when I was about 10.
Yes.
And he must be pretty old now.
Yes,
to be honest, but maybe we should try and get him on.
Hey, listen, we had one here. This is good because you took to this really enthusiastically. Talking about Scotland, chaps, how are you two Scottish lads getting on with your properties up there? And when are you going to see your real estate?
Do you know what? I still haven't looked at it. I must look at it.
Well, you see, it's not good enough.
You know what? I might try and do that today. Because I've got a quieter day. I've had a very busy couple of weeks, to be honest.
Yeah.
So today, what I might do is try and locate where the property is.
Right.
Because when we go up to do what we think we're going to do, which is the end of August, the Edinburgh Festival,
yes,
which hasn't yet been sort of completely and utterly nailed down.
Excuse me, I think
maybe,
people do.
We might be able to do it. We might be able to take a car one day and visit our property.
Good idea.
Go and travel over the Forth Bridge.
Right. It says here from JFT96 that sadly refers, I think, usually to a Liverpool supporter, just for the 96.
I think that's what he means.
Yeah. He says, buttock-bouncing Rogerisation. Filthy-minded Porky has outdone himself once again.
It's another one for Finn, isn't it?
Sorry?
Finn, your friend's son. Who's a big fan of the
show.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, I tried. It is a family show. I try to keep it clean. You know, I do. Right, two mics. I normally stick up for old Porky, but he does have something in common with footballers. Both need to man up.
That's true, actually.
Not sure what that means.
Well, he's talking about your, ridiculous, shenanigans about just having a little bit of a cold. You don't shut up talking about it.
Yeah.
William says this: I don't think Porky would be lacking in places to put dinosaurs. How about the mad people of California, the weird folk in Gibraltar, or the Isle of Man? These are previous places that you've slagged off, of course.
Well, yeah.
Roy says, what Judas did, if you believe, was just God's plan. Otherwise, Jesus would not have been crucified. So he did God's will. So Judas was actually honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Now, listen, I'll tell you what I want to talk to you about.
Yeah, go on.
Do you know what a rock box is?
Beg your pardon?
A rock box.
I don't know. Probably a box to put rocks in.
No, it's not. I'll tell you what it is. It is the world's most sophisticated new barbecue grill.
Why?
And I'm going to get you one for the summer that your children, because you've got that sort of huge garden of yours, right? Your children can enjoy a bit of a. In fact,
I've already got a barbecue.
I know this is so different. I
Well,
might actually bring it down.
Yeah, okay.
And stay with you. I'll tell you why. To start off with, it heats up to 500 degrees centigrade.
Oh, that sounds a good thing to have around the kids.
Yes, that's right. Which is the equivalent of 932 degrees Fahrenheit, which is quite hot.
Why would you think that's a good idea to have around children?
Because you can then put
Or a dog.
No, hang on. You can put your pizza in, and it does pizza in 90 seconds.
Why do you want to put pizza on a barbecue?
Well, because it does everything. It's a new revolutionary one, right?
Well, it's an oven, then.
Yeah, it's an oven. Yeah, that's right.
It's not a barbecue, is it? You said it was a barbecue.
Well, it's a very modern barbecue. It's
such a modern barbecue. It's not a barbecue. It's an oven.
No, you idiot. What I'm saying is it's the successor to the barbecue.
No, it's not. It's an oven.
No, it's not.
Well, show me a picture of it.
Okay.
Let's have a look. What does it do on the top, for example?
Yeah, look at that. I've got a picture.
That's an oven.
No, it's not. But it's instead of a barbecue. That's the point.
It's not instead of a barbecue.
It is.
Why would you? If you want to barbecue something, you have to barbecue.
No, barbecues are awful. It make your food smells of smoke and it burns chicken on the outside, but not on the inside.
It's like putting clothes in a dishwasher, isn't it?
What?
That's like putting your clothes in a dishwasher. You wouldn't do that, would you?
No, of course not.
And you wouldn't put a pizza on a barbecue either, would you?
No, you would. You put the pizza in.
No, you don't want to cook the bottom of the pizza. You want to cook the top of it.
Listen. The British makers of this machine are going to sell it all over the world. We've been working on it for 3 years.
Don't bring me one of these.
Been working on it for 3 years. I guess what it does?
It bakes things.
It rustles up everything a barbecue can do.
Like what?
Without the endless wait for the charcoal to heat up. As well as doing...
I don't have to wait for the charcoal to heat up.
Why?
I've got a gas-fired barbecue.
Well, anyway, that's not a real barbecue either. So it
yeah,
says,
but it's still a barbecue.
It says as well
it's
as...
not an oven.
Hang on, just shut up, will you, and listen. As well as sausages, hamburgers and kebabs, the portable device can also cook a stone-baked pizza.
So it's an oven?
In 90 seconds.
It's an oven.
It's not.
Why can't you just admit that you're wrong?
Now, it can bake a crisp 12-inch pizza in 90 seconds, and it can also roast meat, fish, vegetables, and it can bake...
roast things?
It can roast things.
And bake things?
And bake things.
So what does that make it?
You can bake your own bread.
Well, what does that
make it? You
make
can bake your own bread.
What do you bake things in?
You bake them in this new device.
No, what's it called normally?
It's called the rock box.
Well, what do you normally bake bread in?
No, it's a rock box.
What do you normally bake things in?
Now then,
What do you
Excuse me.
roast? What do you roast things in?
This is a rock box. Okay? You idiot.
You're off your rock box.
No.
Why can't you just admit you're wrong? It's an oven.
No, it's not. And I'm volunteering to get you one anyway,
So
but I'm
it's
not going to get
an
you one now.
It's not an oven, but you can bake bread in it.
I'm not going to get you one now.
It's not an oven, but you can bake pizza in it. It's not an oven, but you can roast.
Hang on,
roast meat in it.
Just let me tell you what it's about. A burner at the back of the device creates a flame which rolls across the top.
The device?
Yes.
You mean the oven?
Cooks the surface of the food. A flat stone base across the bottom of the cooking area crisps the food from underneath. Despite the roaring... Despite the roaring...
I've just looked up rock box. It's come up with a load of sex toys.
No, you idiot. Despite the roaring temperatures inside...
The oven?
The rock box isn't dangerously hot on the outside. It's covered... What's your problem?
The rock box isn't dangerous.
No.
hot.
No. It's covered in multiple steel layers, and it's got an insulated jacket.
Hey, look. I've got the website.
What?
It says, say hello to the rock box. The rock box is a portable, compact and lightweight stone bake oven.
No, it's a device. It's a device.
It's an oven.
Now, it's heat. Listen, it weighs...
I think you should put one on your roof garden.
No, it weighs 44 pounds.
Probably melt the whole place.
Weighs 44 pounds, okay?
Right, okay.
So it's not a portable barbecue.
Oven.
It's not a portable barbecue. It's good. It's good to have in your box at home, in your garden at home. The rock box. Okay, it was founded by Tom Gosney.
Who's he?
I don't know, but he's the chief executive of the company that's made it.
Right, marvellous. Well, don't bring me one.
I thought I would. It's made in China.
Great.
It's £299.
£300.
Yeah. The rock box. I'm going to get you one.
Just keep repeating the word rock box. Thank you very much indeed. We've got a few more things to do.
Yeah, certainly
read a few more tweets out, I think. This is Talk Sport.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
The day you and I are not the same. You say you like the sun, I like the rain. But still before we go, do it all again. You better catch your own train.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Tomorrow there's going to be a Porky quiz on Fleet Street, which is going to be fascinating, I should imagine. Porky quiz, according to Lord Rallo, was very good. He says, Porky should be on his deathbed more often. That was a surprisingly coherent Porky Vision.
Well, it was.
Hashtag Porky's cough.
Well, you know, I pay attention to things, you know what I mean?
Old World Traveller here says, Finn who? Never have two words summed up Porky's attitudes to relationships and love of fellow man.
What do you mean?
Well, you didn't recognise the boy's name.
Well, you know, we have a lot of people who pass through the
but not very many.
you know
Not very
I mean?
many that you sign pictures for and all that, or pose for pictures. Now, the
yes.
rock box has caused a bit of excitement.
Good.
Roy says this: Porky has no clue about barbecues because you can't boil the life out of anything on them. Rock box, more like rock head. Rob says, can Porky boil vegetables in this rock box device?
Yeah, you can.
Hashtag
yeah,
plate.
you can.
Ian says, I like waiting for the coals to heat up. By the time the food goes on, I'm completely bladderated. And then Gunarus says, is that the oven the apes bake their potatoes in? Similar, actually, to the one that the chimps were... Because he was saying they made a rock box oven,
they did indeed.
Hackman says, for God's sake, Porky, just say the word oven. Hashtag rock box, hashtag not an oven.
No, I'm not going to. Why should I?
Because
it's
an
not
oven.
That. No, it's not.
It's on its own website. They call it an oven.
It's a new device.
For heaven's sake.
Hey, by the way, did you ever work with a guy called Paul Routledge?
Paul Routledge, yes.
You know?
Yeah, old lefty at the Mirror.
Oh, I mean, to talk about the working class
made
hero.
Arthur Scargill look like a conservative.
Right. Yeah, that's right. He always had the fuck in his mouth and the pint
right,
of beer, you know what I mean?
He was your...
all northern people are good, all southern people are soft.
And they all
you know what I mean?
And they all vote Labour. I don't think he ever came into... He hardly ever came into the office in London. He didn't like coming to London at all. He used to be at the House of Commons quite a bit.
Yeah.
But he became the sketch writer sort of after a while.
That's right, yeah. And he was written a bit in the Mirror today.
Is he still there?
Well, I think he's part-time now, isn't he? Sort of.
Well, he was always part-time.
They'll ring him up when they want some, the left-wing view from the north of England. You know what I mean? Big Paul Routledge, Always have a faggy one hand and a pint of beer in the other, and a couple of ferrets down with trousers. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
that's very good. That sounds just like him.
Yeah, exactly. And he's writing about the budget,
Oh, yeah.
It's a sugar and spice budget, only minutes before George Husband got his feet in the Commons, the postman brought me news of me basic state pension for next month.
I mean, the great thing about these guys, what he doesn't reveal to the readers is that he's probably got a house that's worth about £1 million quid.
Oh, of course.
He's been paid well in six figures for many years.
Yeah.
But he's still banging on about the working class.
Oh, yeah, these working class heroes weren't averse to fiddling 200 or 300 quid a week on their expenses, whether they work for the Mirror or the Express or anybody else. You know what I mean?
Not, of course, that we're accusing Paul Routledge of fiddling expenses.
Okay, I'm sure he's never fiddled his expenses in his life, but I used to fiddle mine. But I was openly and consciously a capitalist, so I took no shame in it. You know what I mean?
Fine, then. Very well.
But the lefties, they didn't.
You've seen the time, by the way.
What the lefties were doing was hitting back against the capitalist bastard. Sorry. Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what we should talk about tomorrow.
What?
Something very fishy going on with Rebecca Adlington.
Yes.
I can't say too much at the moment.
Oh, you're talking about the skier, the swimmer?
No, the swimmer,
Swimming lady.
Not a skier.
And her marriage has just broken up.
Well,
why?
She's been swimming in somebody else's pool.
Oh, my goodness gracious
anyway,
me.
More of that coming up tomorrow. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics.
Look at the light! Don't forget to come back tomorrow for another sparkling, as fizzy as a bottle of champagne podcast from the two mics.
There's a tweet from Sign of the Times.
Oh, yeah.
It's just revealed he had an illegitimate son called Al Catraz.
Alcatraz. That's a joke, isn't it? Biggest contract in the history of politics.
Be careful, your tea's going to spill.
Yeah, sorry.
If you love the Two Mics podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
Pseudo-Pnemo.
Yes, my lady.